I'm Sean Fennessey.
I'm Amanda Dobbins.
And this is The Big Picture, a conversation show about action. CR, Chris Ryan, is here with us.
The action is the juice.
It is the juice today on the pod. We're drafting. We're doing something a little bit different.
Oh, I just noticed your shirt. For those of you listening, Chris is wearing his Heat t-shirt underneath a very cool denim jacket.
Thanks.
Is this like from the archives?
No, it's just like a Levi's jacket.
No, I know, but is it from your archives? I wouldn't say it's in regular rotation.
Oh, it is. It is.
Oh, since when?
Yeah, I wear it.
Is this like a Europe thing?
No.
What do your buttons say?
One says post-war modernism.
Okay. What's the other
Yeah,
one?
there's a tiger.
I don't have the angles, so I'm just trying to paint a picture for everyone.
I thought it was really nice of you to let Wayne grow out of your dungeon for a couple of hours to let him onto the Mulaney show.
Yeah.
That was really generous of you. Chris, you're here because we're drafting not movies. Have we ever drafted not movies?
No.
Never.
Not
I don't think
like
so.
as a whole concept. We had a category in the Christmas movie draft where it was like Christmas paraphernalia.
Wild
Right, the
card
wild
Christmas.
card
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
That was the one time. So this time we're drafting scenes, sequences, set pieces in movies. So in action movies, there are always these moments, these big moments that frankly the movies are always sold on.
Right.
The big climactic visual spectacles. Chris and I would say connoisseurs of these things. You love a good action sequence. Do you have connoisseurship?
Of the sequences that I'm interested in. It's fun. Well, Chris and I had a great text conversation last night. And
About the semantic.
yeah, about the semantics. And he was like, how much of your stuff is like pure action?
Yes.
And I said that mine is definitely dramatic stuff happening. Not always in like pure action movies,
Right.
but stunts, set pieces, things that you wouldn't, almost impossible things that they made possible in the movies, usually by crashing things around.
Yeah.
Chris went more towards your standard gunfight.
Right.
I probably lean towards, wow, I can't believe that vehicle with the person did or didn't do that thing,
So this was Chris's idea to do this draft. As I was thinking about how we should do it, I thought there were two different ways to do it. There's the way that we chose, or there was a way suggested by what you said, which is we could have done this as gun battle, car chase,
Yeah.
sword fight, epic explosion, airplane sequence. Like we could have done it
Right.
Yeah.
categorically. Instead, we've done it differently. I'll wait. But before we do, this is a lot of movie news. We'd love to
Okay.
cover the news.
Yeah.
Here on the
The
pod.
wires are exploding.
Yeah, things are going crazy. So the first thing that happens.
I just bring everybody behind the scenes. This segment was inspired by me sitting down between the two of you 10 minutes ago, and you just like rattling off headlines
Yeah.
to try to like make me want to die.
That's right.
Chris
And
just
so now we're turning into podcasting.
he wakes up 4:45 a.m. hot, tall cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Looking at the trades from
Sauna,
page 1
cold
to page
plunge,
100.
Deadline.com. Same time. Cold plunge in the sauna with just Mike Fleming's RSS feed blasting into my face.
Do you know what was on page 1 of Variety this morning? The Big Picture live at the El Rey sold out in less than an hour. Did
Was
you guys see
it
July
really?
9th? Yeah. Have you heard this?
You told me
You
this. Yeah,
told
this
us
is
that.
great.
Oh, hold on. Now I'm just typing in variety.com.
It's not actually Variety.
I was like, what? I was like, they've got some stuff at Cannes to cover, Several major directors have been.
We never even got a chance to promote the show. It sold
Yeah.
out. We were doing a pod and then
Will I be doing third chair that evening?
you've been
Yeah,
invited.
you're-
Okay.
Are you interested in joining?
You're literally listed
I have a very
in
extensive Independence Day plan for the it might extend.
Into July 9th? Yeah. Wow, what are you getting up to? Just more cold plunges or? That's exciting. No, we hope you'll be there. We want you to
because
be there.
literally the tickets were sold on the promise of you appearing.
Special
so
guest
it
Chris
would
Ryan.
be like sort of
Oh, did
fraudulent.
it
at this
really?
point.
Yeah,
down
That's
at the
great. Well, I'll
bottom.
come back from Mount
Okay.
Rushmore in time.
Will you be recreating
I'll
one of
be
your
doing
set piece
my
Let's
own
do the-
fireworks display. Me and Christy.
Really excited about that show. Really happy that people want to come and see us. We will be doing a draft. We won't say what the draft is, but that'll be what the show
Are we
is.
doing a draft that night?
Yeah,
Oh,
don't you think we should?
Nobody's looped me in on this.
What are you talking about? I told you about all
I feel
this.
really close to you now because this is how I feel most of the time, where he's just like announces things on the podcast as if they're
This
fact.
is not
and you're
true.
like,
I knew that
This
I was
is-
probably
okay.
going to make an appearance at this show.
This
but
is not true. I literally said to you, will you do the live
You
show
did.
with us?
He did clear the date with you. We have the
Is that
text
before I went
messages
to Europe?
prove
Yeah.
that.
I'm different now.
I know. You've had 300 Zyn pouches in your mouth at one time.
Can you give us the Europe highlights? Top 3?
I thought Oslo was an incredibly fun city.
Okay.
Bergen was gorgeous. And London is London, baby. And shout out to Nina Haas and Anton Chekhov.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Those
Shout out
guys.
to Chekhov.
Yeah.
I agree. So that's one piece of news.
Okay.
Here's some other things that happened.
Yeah.
Megalopolis, which premiered its trailer this week, and is about to premiere at Cannes
Mm-hmm.
in about 5 days. We didn't talk about the trailer. What'd you think?
Sick.
Pretty
Let's
cool.
do it. Yeah. I mean, it had that like, wow, this is an incredible trailer. And when it's all standing on its own, will I understand what's happening? I don't know. But am I rooting for Francis? Yes. Because I think when you're 80 something and spending $100 million of your own movie, you should be allowed to smoke marijuana on set if you want
That's
to.
right.
I generally agree. Did you like the trailer?
I did. I wondered if he cut it.
Oh, did he edit it?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
yeah.
modern.
Yeah.
It's such like
Yeah.
a contemporary feeling trailer. It doesn't have any kind of like, and I think they also, at the end of it, it obviously starts introducing the kind of dialectical, discussion that he's probably trying to have with the film.
Right.
But it's cut like a Christopher Nolan trailer. So I was curious whether or not they were like, we have to sell this thing.
It did have a bit of Malikian dialogue
Mhm.
in the final 30 seconds,
Right.
which I think will be a little bit of a challenge for the mainstream audience. This movie still does not have American distribution, despite the fact that
When are you going to step up to the plate?
I've made a bid. $38 to license the film in perpetuity
And show it in
and
your
show it
ADU.
in my garage. Which we'll see. Maybe he's interested.
Yeah.
Probably not. I hope it gets distribution. It does not sound like any of the studios are really interested at all.
Yeah.
And we're at a time now, and this is also something that I forgot to mention that we would talk about, but Horizon Part 1, Chapter 1,
Mm-hmm.
an American saga, a different kind of American saga, is coming to theaters on June 28th. That's coming from Warner Brothers, but they're just standing the movie up for audiences. This is
Yeah.
Kevin Costner's planned 4-part epic
Mhm.
American story. He gave an interview in Deadline this week that is simply
Did you read this?
magnificent.
I didn't.
Okay.
But for reasons that will become clear at a later date.
That you're deeply in love with Kevin Costner.
Not that.
It is it's an interesting exploration
Uh-huh.
of his thought process around making a movie. It's an interesting exploration of Mike Fleming's interviewing style.
Mhm.
He was a bit combative in this interview. At one point, he says, "Shut up," to Mike Fleming. Unclear if it was in a playful way or not.
He goes back and's like, I know I told you to shut up, but I like you.
I was testing you.
Yeah.
Which was great. He also said not once but twice, "I'm not Ahab," which is definitely what you say when you
When
don't
you're
think
not
you're
Ahab.
Ahab.
Yeah.
And Horizon, has gotten the thing that Coppola is seeking, which is like he got a studio to say like, okay, we'll put this out for you, but otherwise the risk is yours. And Coppola came up a lot in that conversation with Costner. We'll see what happens. With that
Crucially,
movie.
Costner also talked about a conspiracy that I know is very close to your heart, where he was like, the big Hollywood wants you to think physical media is dead.
Yeah,
But
'cause they're trying
my
to hold on to the
audience
rights.
is still copying Horizon DVDs at Walmart in the checkout line.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Dances with Wolves Steelbook. Shit's fire. Are you kidding me? The director's cut, it's like 4.5 hours. That's incredible stuff. Of course the studio wants to hold on to it.
Yeah.
You know what I saw today? Heartbreaking news. Challengers will be coming to physical media very soon.
Mhm.
No UHD 4K.
Oh, God.
No special features.
Yeah.
Just like, what the fuck?
What is? I mean, okay. I can't even. I'm sorry.
They should let me put the Blu-rays out. They should let me decide
And
what,
then
what
4
content
years
goes on
later,
there.
it's like Disney sunk $4 billion into like the Alice edition of
Yeah.
Snow White.
So I would have thought for you, one conversation about Fantastic Four casting a week would be enough. But you
Yeah.
actually said to us, I would like to discuss this news.
I'm on this story. I am the beat reporter for Fantastic Four. They keep adding people to it. So now Natasha Lyonne has joined the cast of the Fantastic Four, which is now a Fantastic Seven, frankly.
Yes, there are many, many
Julia
people
Garner,
involved.
Natasha Lyonne, and Ralph Ineson.
I told Chris that Chris's comparison of the Silver Surfer to the front of the house at a restaurant is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Thanks.
The Herald for Galactus. Are you familiar with Galactus?
Well, on the watch, I learned that he's a possibly evil being that's larger than several planets. And
Yeah.
also he eats planets.
That's correct.
I want to let you know that after that sentence is when I turned off to watch this movie. I literally was just like, what's up? Is the town posted a new episode? But I did hold on to that information. So there you go.
I thought the Ralph Ineson casting was good.
Yeah.
Galactus needs to have a voice like Ralph Ineson has. So that was cool. Fantastic Four, that's going to be a good movie?
That's next year, right?
Yeah. What do you think?
So can you explain to me a little bit where Fantastic Four fits into to the corporate
I think this
universe
is the reboot.
and what it means? First of all, who does it belong to?
It's Marvel.
It's Marvel.
It's Marvel.
So
It was Fox, and now it is part of the wider Marvel.
So is this Marvel trying to like restart Marvel again after
And it's set in the
they
60s.
restart it for the third, the eighth
I
time
think it
with
will have
Deadpool and Wolverine?
some strong origin points for what we think will be Fantastic Four and X-Men as like the future of Marvel.
Will the Fantastic Four be in Deadpool 3 in any capacity?
Doubt it. Maybe in a
I would bet
cliffhanger.
there's going to be something at the end of Deadpool that's like, this is they're coming.
where we're
They're
headed.
coming.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But we've also seen them do that with Harry Styles and then just be like, whoops, we forgot. He's not in the next movie. So you never know. You never can tell. New John Wick spinoff with Donnie Yen. So we've already got Ballerina coming next year, starring Ana de Armas. Chris, you've seen every episode of The Continental. What's your take on that show?
I actually haven't seen The Continental,
Okay.
unfortunately.
We don't claim The Continental.
Donnie Yen is unbelievable in John Wick 4, so I'm pretty excited for this.
I am very excited too. Will he come up in today's pod, Donnie Yen? Maybe. He could.
Yeah.
It's possible. We shall see. Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts are starring in the new Luca Guadagnino movie.
Yeah. I feel great about this because I love Julia Roberts and Andrew Garfield when he picks projects that I'm interested in.
Okay.
And obviously Luca Guadagnino. And the fact that there's casting attached to this particular project makes me think that this is
Real.
one of the, because Luca has
17
bless
different
him.
things.
And,
Yeah.
I love it. And I would watch all 17 of them.
Yeah.
Like that, just let him make people kiss wherever he wants. That sounds
Do
great.
you think they will be romantically involved in the
No
film?
kiss.
Well, I mean, I don't know whether they'll actually. I'm sure there will be some sort of tension. Have you ever seen a Luca Guadagnino movie where all the characters don't have some sort of unspoken? Should we try this out? Tension?
No.
Yeah.
And in Suspiria, it's Dakota Johnson and flesh-eating monsters.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, you're
is
right.
this
It
one
happens
about
everything.
cancel culture? Isn't Julia
She's
Roberts
a
going to
professor.
be in
I think that gets canceled.
Wow.
Yeah.
You wrote this? One other movie-related TV thing that is happening is there's a new Dune TV show.
Mhm, we just watched the trailer on Chris's computer.
Yeah.
What's it called? Is it
Dune
Dune's
Prophecy?
Prophecy? So
Yeah.
that's weird that they would use
It's when
that
the Bene
title.
Gesserit start
Yeah.
planting the seeds.
It is the
literally.
origins of the Bene Gesserit, starring Emily Watson and Olivia Williams and Mark Strong. And I shared with you guys the Harkonnens, that they're the Bene Gesserit, which I didn't know. I guess you can infer having seen the end of Dune Part 2.
Spoiler, I guess.
I guess. Who hasn't seen Dune Part 2 at this point that's listening to this show?
You know, your mentions will let you know.
Okay, fair enough.
Sir, I have not seen Dune 2.
You know what people have been getting on me? I saw this in the YouTube comments. People were like, can you use a regular use water bottle? Can you stop using single use cups?
Did
whilst
somebody say
recording?"
that?
I'm like, what? Come, what? I can't go to
you're
the
reading
coffee
YouTube
shop and get
comments?
coffee in a cup that they gave me? Like, well, no, we have YouTube now. And I was like, what's going on in these comments? Not good.
Don't-
It's not
Yeah.
good.
Don't look at that. What are you doing? I've
people-
told you this.
What are people do? What are they talking about?
You should jump in there and you should
Yeah.
start engaging with people about your contributions to the environment.
Do you use a water bottle?
No. You know about this.
I know
I'm
you
gonna
do. I know.
die
I
in
know.
5
Yeah.
years because of my plastic intake.
Because the plastic
Yeah,
is
the
connected to the water.
microplastics.
Okay.
I am going to be plastic man. Like I
We
am
all are.
gonna
There's
have.
nothing. There's nothing.
So that's why
Fantastic
I'm
Four
kinda
2
like-
is going to
Yeah.
be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. Dune 2 show, it looks
Yeah.
good. Looks cool.
Can I ask something related to Chris's computer? And
Yeah.
I don't mean to invade your privacy, but when your computer is close to mine, and we watched the Dune 2 trailer on it, or the Bene Gesserit show on it, and then you had some sort of Google Doc about high interest rates, and I'd just love to know more about
Do I have
what's
a
going
Google
on there.
Doc about-
I thought it was a Google Doc. I was
This?
like, "Are you?" I mean, no. Or maybe you were just reading something. I just wanted to know what business Chris was up to.
Oh, I mean, I dabble in Bloomberg.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, I know. So I was just, if there's anything you wanted to share with us.
Jerome
news and
Powell
notes
is
segment.
now worried about inflation.
Okay. Oh, finally.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thanks. Great.
What? Can you open your financial portfolio and can we just go through it for a little bit?
Just show it right to the
Yeah.
camera.
Can you just open up Fidelity to show us what you got in there? Okay.
I just really
What if
love
I-
it when
would
you're
you
just
be-
like, money used to be cheap and it's not cheap anymore, which is true.
What were you going to ask?
No, it was going to be a joke about what if I had a lot of investments in Russian oil.
What if? What if indeed? What would you be doing right now?
I'm going to cash out and I'm going to buy your house. I'm gonna go to Karen Bass and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't.
I'd like to
refuse.
rezone this property.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would allow you to live in my home. I want you to know that. I don't think you would allow me to live in yours.
Of course you could.
I don't know.
Any day. If
How would
you're,
Phoebe
when you're
feel
at
about
the
it?
Vista, you could just come right down and just sleep at my place.
Do you think I would be a good housemate? I'm very
I-
clean.
I think that the terror of like running afoul of your rules,
Mm.
even if you're the guest,
Yeah.
would be too stressful.
you just need a
long-term.
door. If you have a closed door, you're done. You're good.
Right. And you
Yeah.
have no doors in your home, so this is a bit of an issue. Yeah.
Open floor plan.
No doors, no clothes.
No-
That's the
no
rule.
ceilings.
Yeah. Should we draft? What do you want to do?
Yeah,
How do you feel about this one?
this one's fun.
It's less competitive. I
Yeah.
feel like we're all going to be able to go
It doesn't have
home
to be
happy.
contentious. It can be more. I really liked when this crazy thing happened.
I think it'll also be a
Yes, I agree.
psychological Rorschach test because Amanda and I were talking about this last night, and I just have the word massacre written down multiple times across.
I was also just like how we, the naming of these scenes and how we describe them. Like we probably all
Yeah.
should have taken an edible and then done this podcast because it's like, dude, when the bus goes off the thing,
Yeah, yeah.
is basically what this podcast is going to be.
I thought about that too. Almost, and if we're doing it on video and you can see the clip, like what do you want to see written down on the clip?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
would it be
yeah.
described to us? So I have a few questions to open the discussion. So the original phrase that you used when you pitched this idea, Chris, was set piece.
Set piece, yeah.
Which I think is a somewhat narrow description of ultimately what we'll do here. This is a little bit more like scene or sequence.
Yes.
But like, what is a set piece?
A set piece is like a standout scene from a film that usually involves physical action that feels like a certain climactic moment. So like that's definitionally like it can be in a play, it can be in a book, but you can tell like, oh, like all those sort of thematic energy and narrative energy has been building up to this moment. It's not necessarily like the climactic scene because you could say a set piece, for instance, would be the Valkyries moment in Apocalypse Now, and that happens whatever like 40 minutes into the movie,
Right,
and then there's
right.
still like plenty of movie. That would be the set piece of that movie until the very end. So it just basically involves a piece of action within the film that is clearly delineated. That this filmmaker was like, here it is. Here's my wares.
What do you think makes one great?
Do you agree with that definition?
Generally, yes. I think in the recent years, there's been that phrase has been affixed more commonly to something that seemed like very difficult to pull off. That is maybe more like focused in one location or even in one shot. And that's related to something I wanted to ask you guys about too. But so like what, I always think of, not to give anything away, but I always think of your appreciation for that famous Fast Five sequence. Like that's
Sure.
like something
that
you
is
love.
yes, of course. That is obviously on my long list and probably for like the honor of the Dobb mob. Like, I and my principles, I have to pick it. But I do think the dumber version of what Chris said is like it's a concrete, like a incredible thing that happens physically. And when I was putting my list together, I do think, I guess I thought in set pieces, but like the things that came to mind that are images probably from a movie, but it's because someone did pull a heist, pull a bank safe through Rio, or someone did make a bus jump off a thing, or someone did, so it is.
So you saw the picture of the memorable image
Yes,
in your mind.
of the moment of action,
Right.
of the thing that they visually captured.
There is a world in which like the poop scene from Dumb and Dumber is a set piece.
I wonder if you wanted
Yeah.
to. I think the word action complicates this a little bit. Now, action can fit in a movie that isn't a pure action movie.
Sure.
Right.
But is shitting action?
It is an action.
Yeah.
It's a verb.
It can be. There's also a lot of choreography involved in that.
That's true.
You know, like the bridesmaids, bathroom or wedding
In the
dress
middle of the
bathroom
street.
scene.
Yeah.
Is a comedic set piece, but
Yeah. That would have been a category if we'd gone
right. And like
categorically.
another thing, I didn't include any dance sequences here, which like
Oh yeah.
are a different they are action and
It's
things
physical,
moving
yeah.
and choreography, but it's like a separate.
I think that's a different draft.
Yeah,
Dance
exactly.
draft
Yeah.
would be a good one. So are fight scenes set pieces?
I
Yes.
think so. Yeah, because they involve choreography.
But not all fight scenes.
What's an example of a
Oh.
fight scene that isn't a set piece?
I think that like the 9 fights that happen in a Marvel movie before the climactic fight, the ones where it's just guys like very rotely punching each other and like you're like, I already know the result of this. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It just feels like every 10 minutes you have to have some piece of action so that the audience wakes back up after 9 minutes of exposition. So like I think that you can, and that's not even to besmirch Marvel. I think that's just a thing that happens in a lot of action movies.
I thought about Marvel a lot actually with this. Obviously, I really like that first stretch of Marvel movies, but there was only one Marvel sequence that I put on my long list, and I really like it because I feel like it is more in league with what we're talking about here. I'll probably end up taking it, but it's
That's
funny.
I have no idea.
Oh, for him. I mean, I just think it's the
yeah.
one that like, be like, that one's actually
Yeah,
good.
the cool guys.
Oh,
You're like, this is cool.
Is it from Civil War?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So actually, it's Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Oh, right. No,
Yeah.
that's the one that that's what I meant. It was a 70s movie.
It's like Parallax View.
I never said
It's
that.
basically like Parallax View.
I never said that.
It's better than Parallax View in some ways. It's kind of better.
Those guys are still doing that.
Yeah.
They're still like, this is like Carl Theodore Dreyer's
Shout out
Vampire,
to them.
like they're really just making the hard comp. They're like,
And then
this is our
it's a
Mishima.
$500 million spy show that 9 people watched.
The Gray Man 2, the Black Man. Like, it's just the worst shit ever, and they're comparing it. CGI. Now, CGI is essential to many of the picks that we'll make today.
Yeah.
But our relationship to it is complicated. I think because there's a lot of complicated feelings about the way that a lot of CGI looks in compromised productions in 2024. This isn't so much a question of like definitionally, but for you guys personally, when you were making your lists, did you find you were leaning less on it? You leaning more on it?
Far less.
Yeah,
Far
obviously far less.
Now, I don't want to sound like a snob. It's not that the things that I picked don't feature plenty of like visual effects or post tricks to make things feel or like look different. And in some ways you could say that the sound design of a scene might just be as quote unquote fake as a piece of CGI. But I did notice that I was like really eschewed like a lot of like things that would be borderline animated. And that's not even like my animation allergy. It's just like, I think I really tried to embrace like people actually doing things in a camera,
You felt similarly.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what I'm drawn to. And I really did. I like my picks will be the things that first jump to my mind. I don't think anything like unfamiliar is going to jump out at this where it's like sudden like a deep cut from, like Die Hard 4 or
Chris
something.
might have
where I'm like,
some
did you know
in
I
his
love this?
back
Yeah,
pocket.
you will as well. And then it was also fun because I would think of some and I'd be like, well, I know Chris will really want that. And I know Sean will want that. And it doesn't feel quite as like vicious of like, I must have this and you're going to want it instead.
I feel similarly. So because of that, I made a suggestion to you guys.
Well, sure.
Which is that one change that we'll make for this draft. I actually haven't even cleared this with Bobby Wagner, but I'm clearing it with you right now, Bobby. Instead of one pick every turn, we're going to make 2 picks. So we're going to draft 12 sequences, 2 for each category all the way around.
So, okay, great. Point of order. Can we tell our categories now?
Let's do our categories.
So we're doing it by decade instead of by type of action. So we're doing 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, and wildcard.
Yes.
So if I pick a 90s sequence, do I pick both 90s at once?
You can pick anything you want.
Oh,
you can pick a 90s and an 80s.
Okay.
You can pick 2 wild cards.
Okay.
You can pick 2 2020s. Now, my thinking for this was this would be a good way to represent the evolution of action. The 80s, obviously there were many action movies before the 1980s, but the 80s is what action defined the 1980s in Hollywood. I also was thinking about how this month, The Fall Guy, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Furiosa are all happening. And they are kind of classical action movies or action franchises. And so how do we kind of represent for this moment? This you pitched this idea a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was...
You seen Fall Guy yet?
No, I haven't.
I didn't appreciate Andy's comments. So I'll just say that
he
to
thought
you
it was
now.
dog shit.
I thought he was a little strong on it.
Yeah, I mean,
shocking.
Yeah, it's just like, I think his definition of fun and my definition of fun is historically quite different.
Oh,
so
as
a
watch listener, I thought maybe you would feel like you saw yourself in Andy.
No, I thought it was really fun.
Okay,
so That's me.
I'll check it out. I plan to see it in
You'll
the
probably see
theater.
it on a plane.
Yeah.
No, I plan to see it in the theater. I want to support.
When will
the
you go
industry.
back to Oslo?
Probably it'll be a minute, like because I'm going to miss the nice part of the year starting now, and then in September it's dark from like 2 p.m. till 10 a.m.
Right. So you've done Sweden and Norway.
Yeah.
Have you done Denmark?
I have not.
And no Finland.
I have not been to Finland.
Okay.
No.
So I was just wondering if you had the Scandinavian hat.
Finland's like, you know,
I think more of a deep cut.
I think Finland might be a little bit more of a deep cut,
Yeah.
and it's really you're on Vlad's doorstep.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's true. The one like pop culture science book that I read about Scandinavia before we went to Sweden was not very generous to the Finnish people.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was like we spent most of the time on Swedes, some time on Norway, and then the Finns, they got nothing.
Okay.
So no Helsinki for you. I mean,
I'm open to it if anybody wants to invite me to come speak, but I don't know if I'm going to plan a personal vacation to Helsinki.
do you think there should be a Nobel category for podcasting?
Like a peace prize or just a podcasting prize?
A prize for peace in podcasting.
Oh,
Who would get it?
Well, I'm looking right at you.
yeah.
Yeah, but
You're able to bridge the chasm between Amanda's appreciation for the Fall Guy and Andy's distaste.
It's true.
Yeah, by not seeing it.
Yeah, just by opting
More
out.
of a Switzerland than a Finland kind of thing
I'm
there.
trying to think of other places I'd like to have you invited to speak. You know?
I'd like to speak at like an Arctic science station, night country style,
So,
and then
just
solve a murder while I'm
recreate
there.
the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
All right.
Where else?
Phoebe would like that because she wants to just go to total night.
How has your tour of the Michigan militias been going? What have those events been like?
Look, man.
And you said you will be spending November in Arizona.
No, I was just saying that July 4th is a very busy time for me.
Oh, boy. Well, we're going to need a draft order, especially since we'll be drafting 12 scenes today. Bob?
The Top Gun hat making an appearance on the YouTube
Yeah.
for the
I'm
first
so
time.
glad.
And I bet
Fitting.
it'll make an
Yeah.
appearance in this.
Fitting
Yeah.
for this episode.
Selecting first will be Amanda Dobbins.
Ooh, okay.
2 picks right out of the chute.
I know. That's exciting.
And going second, Amanda again.
Okay. Yeah.
Should we just let you take all 12?
Right. It would be fun if
That'll
I
be
got
Sean.
to pick
Fenrock.
Okay.
So do I pick 4 picks then? If I'm on the
Yeah.
You
turn?
Oh
do.
my God, this is absolute chaos. This is the best possible
Isn't that crazy?
order. That's really good.
Pretty
This
funny.
is gonna go from
Wait, will I be able to get enough? Will it work with Snake to do it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
because we're
okay.
not
You'll
gonna
do
run
4
out
on each turn, and you'll
of
do
action
2 in the middle
scenes.
and 2 in the middle. So it'll be 4 each round.
I'm just making sure I get enough bites at the apple, but I guess I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You do.
Okay. So this draft will go very quick.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe it'll go really long. How descriptive do you want to be of each sequence?
That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. We're just like, okay, so Chow Yun Fat. He has a shotgun, but the other guy is like,
Wait, stop! Don't do it! I'm holding a baby.
and he's like, poof, and he's like, poof.
I think if you really want it, you should have to read the screenplay. The entire
Oh,
line.
yeah,
of
act it out.
Exterior.
Do you
Okay.
have there's one I just gotta
I
have?
have a very clear what my number one is.
Because I don't have this at all. I feel like
Well,
weirdly ill prepared because it's such a vast decision
Sure,
tree.
but there's a number one that I think pretty much everyone would be like, oh yeah, you got to do that one.
Okay.
And it's in 90s, and it is Mission Impossible,
God
the Langley
Yeah,
heist
the
with
CIA
Tom Cruise.
heist,
Yeah,
yes.
with Tom Cruise floating down and then trying not to sweat
The
on
knock
the
list.
Yes.
Yeah,
Toast.
on the-
Toast.
on the floor, and it's like and that single image, of course, of him just like fully like prostrate floating above the floor is one of the first things that popped to my mind, and sort of
Absolutely.
like shorthand for 90s blockbuster
When
whatever.
we were talking with Van, it was
Yeah.
the first thing that he mentioned. Now, was this near number one for you?
It's certainly in like it was on the upper end. It was not going to be what I was going to take number one.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
So that'll be your first overall pick. So you have one action
Yes.
sequence from the 90s, directed by Brian De Palma, who I bet would have a little chuckle knowing that he got the first
pick in the
overall
action,
pick
Sure.
in the action
Oh,
movie
I mean, I
sequence
think-
draft.
I think he very knowingly is like, I'm orchestrating a very elaborate.
Right.
Like he is the set piece king. Like, and a set piece king, I think, is actually a good way of thinking about it. Is like a fight scene is happening in one setting. You know, it probably only has like a delineation of like interior, exterior, and a screenplay. But a set piece could be taking place across multiple settings. You can just tell that this 8, 10, 9-minute sequence
Right.
was designed to all fit together and give you a
And
certain
work
sensation.
around towards this thing.
And
yeah.
and certainly
And it
the
does
knock
have
list.
a lot of moving parts, like the bathroom trip and
Mhm.
people in the cafeteria. But
mhm.
then that there is still the single image where you're like, okay, I know exactly what's happening. That's also, that is a little bit of. I love the Mission Impossible movies.
Mhm.
So that like it is
Personal connection.
It is a Tom Cruise stunt.
Yeah.
Might not be the last Tom Cruise stunt that I
Intriguing.
pick. I don't know. And there are definitely
Gymnastics in the firm.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Actually, like maybe I'm
More
gonna
of
write
the
that
dance.
down.
The
Hold
dance
on, I'm writing
draft.
that wild card gymnastics in the firm.
I don't think he actually did that, so I think he gets demerits.
Okay, fair enough. But
Did you watch
It's-
the Jerry Maguire rewatchables?
I did. I watched part of it. I have to be honest. I didn't have 2 hours at that moment.
It's too bad.
But I checked in. I thought you guys looked great. Then I was like, I do have a sort of the unique position of like knowing what it's like to be sitting at that table watching you guys do your stuff. You have done what's his name? Your impression, like that's the
Wayne
Moneymaker.
Jenkins
Yeah,
guy?
you've
Yeah.
done Wayne Jenkins.
Wayne Jenkins did not make an appearance
Yeah,
on
it
the
was
Jerry
Well,
Sam
Maguire
Jackson.
I have
rewatchables.
seen it twice
Yeah.
next to me. So, in that
It's the most
sense,
violently pleasurable thing that
It's
happens
like-
in my life.
It was really alarming. It was really, really special.
So can I just very quickly
Yeah.
interrupt you because we're talking Cruise anyway.
Yeah.
So I rewatched it with Eileen, and I shared this on the show.
Oh yeah.
But she was like, Dorothy Ward sucks, and like her obsession with Jerry is weird, and this is not a great character, which I had not really considered because Renee Zellweger is so winning in the movie, and it's such a
Well,
breakthrough performance.
Like, how much of that movie's romance is romance versus desperation?
And mania,
is sort of an
yeah.
interesting and mania. And I think that's true of her character as well, right? Where it's like
Yes.
kind of a loser, made an impulsive decision, and then is stuck with it.
hmm
And, has a little kid, needs insurance.
I think she felt more specifically like her over earnestness was
Okay.
a little lame.
I mean, I agree. In general, over earnest people are lame. But it's a Cameron Crowe movie. Everyone's
I
really
know.
earnest.
I love that
Yeah.
about those movies.
Yeah.
So it is a paradox.
Do you
I-
like his movies generally?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Sidebar. Okay. So
Okay.
Mission Impossible,
Right.
the CIA knock list heist.
Yeah. And so then I'm looking at my list, and I think I have to be a bit strategic because for a number of reasons, including my age, I don't have as many 80s.
How old
as
are you?
90s. You know what? That's sort of like that's going to be like a flexible answer for the next 9 to 12
Yeah.
months. Just
9 to 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's just 39 and loving it.
in the prime of life.
Yeah.
I still don't really
We're gonna be talking
understand
about
how old my
Fantastic
mother is
Four soon.
because she
Okay.
was 39 for
For
like
like a long
a
time.
chunk
Same.
of time.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going in the 80s, and I'm
Oh,
gonna
interesting.
yeah, because it's like I know that the 80s were the action movies, but it's like no one sat me down with
Mhm,
Rambo
mhm.
First Blood. Or
Not until
Rambo.
Chris
yeah,
did, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm
You
like,
and Chris sitting stock still next to each other for 3 hours,
Just watch.
wearing the Clockwork Orange eye openers through all the
I've got a
Rambo
Yeah, it's
films.
like
flag bandana.
Knox's next birthday party.
That I can see.
Oh yeah.
I honestly, you sitting him down for Aliens will be an event.
Yeah.
I can't fucking wait for
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Okay.
80s.
So from Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'm gonna do the truck chase.
okay.
Yeah.
Because obviously the opening is still on the board,
Mhm.
and we don't have any rules about
The rolling ball.
the
That's
the
the
rolling
whole
ball.
throw me the idol
Yeah,
sequence.
yeah.
It's like getting out of the temple.
Yeah. And we don't. There are no restrictions on
Nope.
the same movie.
The
coming up
movie-
twice.
No,
That
Yeah.
would have
No.
been interesting,
So-
but I
No.
think the
So
I have multiple from
that,
multiple
of course, is like a very iconic image. But for me, it's Harrison Ford just like clinging to the bottom
Mhm.
of the truck. And that whole sequence. But that is like certainly the announcement of Indiana Jones, of Raiders, of like a whole decade of Spielberg in the 80s. And it looks like really like he's doing that,
Yeah, I think that is a sequence that defines something, a certain kind of action sequence that maybe it gets a little bit more highfalutin credit. It like exists outside of the realm of like Michael Bay, the maestro of mayhem,
right.
where Steven Spielberg, like if you listen to the Soderbergh talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark, he's like, this is a kind of alchemical collision of science and creativity and problem solving, and making sure that the viewer always knows what the objective is for the character, what the character is feeling, and how things are going wrong, and the way that we're getting more and more invested as those things are transpiring. And that's obviously a very egg-headed way of thinking about it, but like,
and
directors who are good at this,
every
that's
couple
what
of
makes
years,
them great.
he basically iterates on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
With new tech and new special effects, and he'll be like, what if this happened? And you're just like, I can't believe this is exactly how it would feel, or like, I totally understand everything that's happening. He's the master.
So another person who's the master, and this person's been top of mind because Blank Check has been doing John McTiernan for the last 3 months. You were on an episode of the John McTiernan series.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about Thomas Crown Affair. And the thing that they keep circling back to about McTiernan, which is completely true, is that even though he isn't as showy a filmmaker, I would say, as a Spielberg, who's just like a kind of technocrat wizard with blocking and staging and scenes, he makes the most legible action movies to me. And the Die Hard fire hose jump sequence after walking across the broken glass in bare feet is my first pick, 1980s.
Oh, good. Amazing segue there. I didn't even know you were leading into it. There you go.
Can I just ask before we get into it, by the end of this draft, do we each, it doesn't matter how many you pick from a certain decade, you just need to have one from each decade?
Two from each decade.
Two from each decade.
Two from each decade, two wild
Okay.
cards. So McTiernan, obviously he's got, you think he'll come up again in this discussion?
He might.
Yeah.
I'm sitting right here.
That's true.
Yeah.
I feel like Die Hard is a little bit of the blueprint for most of what comes and a lot of what we'll talk about. And it's been fascinating to listen to Griffin and David talk about it because it has been 21 years since he made a movie. Obviously, he was embroiled in some legal issues.
Yeah.
He went to prison.
Yeah, it was tough.
But he has not, since he has been released from prison, not been allowed to make a movie, not been asked to make a film, apparently, or at least not one that he wants to make. And
he apparently wrote a Thomas Crown sequel script in prison.
I mean, that's a
to
great
which I
use of
say,
your
John,
time.
call me.
just so you can read it?
No, but like,
Will you finance it?
Sure, yeah. Have a bake sale?
Is he a bit of an unsavory character?
Yeah, I mean, the reasons for him going to prison suggest that maybe you don't want to be the producer on his project.
Have you ever hired a private detective?
I haven't. The internet's really changed this. So the secrets are at my fingertips.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine.
Okay. Would you consider it?
Hiring a private detective? What would I need to investigate?
Well, I mean, January 6th to start. But why did those guys go to prison?
Jim Garrison on it? Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Die Hard is my first pick. I'll say, like, personally and emotionally, the 80s are not my preferred decade, but I do feel that they're critically important. I'm going to zag.
Oh.
I'm going 2000s. I'm going my boy Christopher Nolan.
Your boy.
I'm doing The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the truck flip.
Yeah.
Which
the whole police chase.
The whole chase. The entire chase where Heath Ledger's Joker is escaping and is, they're in pursuit and Batman is kind of confronting him. I talked about this when we did the rewatchables a long time ago. Like, whatever problems I have with Nolan, he is the only guy who can make you go, like, make the hair stand up straight up for 2 minutes straight. And I do remember vividly, I'm sure I saw The Dark Knight at least twice in theaters, maybe 3 times, going back specifically to get back to the feeling of seeing that when the truck goes perpendicular to the sky, which is just like such a breathtaking, exciting moment that
there's so many iconic images in that whole sequence. Him hanging out of the truck.
Yeah.
Sliding the door open.
The slide that the motorcycle does. Just classic Batman moments.
Nicky Cat. Just love Nicky Cat sitting in the driver's seat,
I was asking Zach, my husband, to like for his suggestions. And him trying to describe this exact sequence. And he's like, Batman goes like this, and then the other motorcycle goes like this. And it was really good. I wish I'd recorded it.
Also, Ledger, very maniacal and entertaining whilst driving, but then after he crashes and is like, Batman is racing towards him on the motorcycle, and he's like, hit me. That part is just high energy, very exciting. So Dark Knight is my second pick.
Okay.
You're up, Sierra.
So I have 4 picks.
You have 4 picks.
I'm Sonny Weaver. I got all my picks back. Okay, let's do this. In the 1990s, I will take the bank robbery from Heat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wore the shirt in honor of that. I was going to be
delete.
Imagine if I took it
my
away
list?
from you.
somewhat disappointed if I didn't get that.
I knew that you were going to do that. I anticipated it, and I have a plan.
I will remember this for the sound. For as electrifying as like the kind of throbbing music that everybody has ripped off since then, that kind of like pulse underneath of it.
Wait, which one? The
main bank
or the bank robbery?
The downtown bank robbery, not the truck. You just remember the sound. I had never heard the cacophony of guns that way. The idea of like what this would sound like for machine guns to be going off in like the canyon of a downtown LA is just so indelible to me that, and just like much like McTiernan and Spielberg and all these people we're going to talk about, like Mann kind of being like, Pacino and his guys are up there, and where De Niro and his guys are and how they're kind of moving down towards them. And it was like you could draw it on a map. If you put a map of downtown LA, you could kind of chart their progress through it. And that's such an accomplishment. The editing is amazing. And even like when you're watching it, I remember when I saw it in the theaters, there's not that many examples of like guys shooting their way out of a bank robbery when that kind of police presence is like, you're like, oh, I guess they're caught. And then they're like, no, I guess the cops are in trouble. And that's the twist in that scene that's so amazing. So yeah, I'll go Heat, bank robbery from the 90s, number 1. I will go Sicario, the border crossing.
Didn't even bother putting this one on my list, but really good choice.
Similarly, is a lot about the buildup. So in the Heat scene and in the Sicario scene, like I would say, obviously the shootouts are both incredibly staged, but the Sicario one is a lot of those guys sitting in a car being like, is something going to happen? And trying to figure out like the rules of engagement and stuff like that. And Emily Blunt, the thing I love about, and I hope I have in a lot of the scenes I pick, is when character stays present even in moments of action. So like Emily Blunt's character is like trying to follow the rules and is like, what is happening? How are these guys going to engage in like a gunfight on foreign soil right now? And it happens, and that's like kind of like her gateway into this world, this underworld of like of secret, like intelligence services versus the cartels. Anyway, incredible scene.
Can we just ask Amanda about the quagmire of the drug war and just get her thoughts? Have you thought about it?
Why are you trying to exclude me from Sicario? I think
I'm not.
I'm
trying to get you involved in the discussion that Chris and I have been having.
You want me to help solve it?
For going on 8 years now. Every day I wake up and I think, maybe I have a new idea about Sicario. I'll have to check in with Chris about this. My new take on Sicario is the best character is Daniel Kaluuya now when I watch the movie.
Oh, he's
I'm like, he's really the audience surrogate where he's like, yo, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Like every scene he's in is like, we don't do it like this. Can someone explain to me what's going on?
Recently on a text thread, Chris suggested that you two would start a school for
school for young boys.
A school for young boys, and the full breadth of the education would just be showing them Sicario over and over again. And
what couldn't they learn?
I
Enroll
thought that
today.
was really funny.
Yeah.
Sicario.org.
Yeah.
Please enroll.
So right now, Heat and Sicario.
Heat and
You're
Sicario.
2 for 2.
So your
Chris Ryan
soul has
special.
been realized.
Well, and we're going to keep going there.
Okay.
Because in the 1980s,
Yeah.
I am going to select the Marine ambush in Aliens.
Which one's that?
It's when they first walk in and they think that they're on like this cakewalk mission.
Yeah, okay.
And then they start to find people entombed.
Right.
And then they're like, you can't use bullets. He's like, what are we supposed to use? Harsh language? And then when everybody starts getting attacked and it's being shot largely through their kind of lo-fi video monitors.
Yeah.
And it's just such an incredible...
sort of a prequel to Aggro Drift. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I had another moment in Aliens that was like really close, but I don't want to say it because in case somebody else takes it.
I had 3 alien sequences in my long list.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Don't know if I'll take one.
I'll do this. So I'll take that for 1980s.
What would you call that sequence? I wrote accidental hive raid.
Yeah, I think
It is pretty
ambush.
horrifying.
Yeah, like
Yeah, okay.
Marines. We are leaving.
Massacre.
Yeah, Marine massacre.
I wouldn't say that I identify aliens with your core identity the same way that Heat and Sicario.
Yeah,
Is that me just like not knowing
She doesn't
a
know.
part of you?
She doesn't.
she doesn't know about
I
the
see the real
xenomorph
you.
inside of
I
me.
see the real
Yeah.
you.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think this may have even come up when we talked on the Alien pod, but I do think the Aliens movies is an original point of connection for you.
Oh,
and I.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first things where we were like, "Rap is cool, but have you seen Aliens?"
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
Okay,
So you got one more.
I'm gonna do the Trinity test in Oppenheimer.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Well, so this is interesting. I think it's a very good pick.
Is it an action?
Wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that fits. It's a set piece.
Yeah.
It is undeniably a set piece. The 2020s, there are some good choices out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We're going to need to draft at least 6. That's one of the signature set pieces of the
I mean,
decade.
what can you
so
say? You
far.
don't breathe for like 9 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
I think just the cross
Hartnett
cutting.
putting the sunglasses on.
Yeah. Benny Safdie putting the suntan lotion on.
Yeah. Good stuff.
It's great. We talked about Oppenheimer a lot, so I'll pass the ball.
2 Nolan movies so far.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the filmmaker who will emerge with the most picks? We've now picked Cameron,
Yeah.
McTiernan,
Spielberg.
Spielberg.
De
Remind me of
Palma.
your second pick. De Palma. De Palma might come up again. Okay. That's an interesting game. We should do a tally at the
Yeah.
end. Bob, keep that in mind as we're going through. Okay. So I've got 2 more picks now. This is very intriguing. Just go Heart, right? Just keep going Heart. Just
I
keep
think
going
so.
for
this,
the like,
yeah,
this
God damn,
doesn't
this
have
rocked.
to be combative
Mhm.
and mean-spirited unless
No.
you make it so.
How dare you? That was the start of the fight. You saying that.
Yeah.
That was enmity. We don't need that here. This is a place of celebration.
I have a lot of things to celebrate.
Steven Spielberg's getting his second film, T-Rex sequence in
Yep.
Jurassic
Yeah,
Park,
that's a good one.
1990s.
Yeah.
Very similar experience. Just, I think the ones that I'm drawn to are the I didn't know you could do that. Like, I didn't know that that could be done
Mhm.
stuff. Now, this is hugely aided by computer-generated
Yes.
imagery. Like, this doesn't work unless you have the technology. I think I talked about the documentary Jurassic Punk on the pod last year, which I saw, which was about one of the effects artists who helped to evolve a lot of what you saw in films like Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park. And it was a fascinating story about like a kind of a troubled guy who was a genius who couldn't really fit into the system, but you could see was a key part of developing and executing on the technology that like ILM was doing at the time.
Do you think that we should ask like a video AI to recreate the velociraptors from Jurassic Park, but have them in the border crossing from Sicario and see if it's the best scene ever made? Like, that's what we should be doing with ChatGPT, is just being like, make Sicario and Jurassic Park in the same movie.
Honestly, just seems like good Ringer Movies video
Yeah.
content. Subscribe, youtube.com at Ringer Movies. Please check us out where we'll be speaking with ChatGPT about Velociraptor drug runners. Should be good stuff. What's it like to be 15 in perpetuity? Is it fun? It does seem fun.
You're getting mad because you can tell that I've touched some fountain of youth. Maybe not in my hairline,
By
but like
using AI.
because I love AI and because I love dinosaurs.
So Chris and I have been talking a
and
lot about
cocaine.
his styling and how like
Yeah.
we are fully Benjamin buttoning, where every day
Okay.
he's like wearing a Thrasher t-shirt and Chuck
Yeah.
Taylors, and I'm like, what happened to my guy wearing flannels, like button downs and an adult man's clothes?
I don't think that I've like evolved much, right? Like I feel like I dress pretty consistently.
I think so. I have noticed like the button down to t-shirt evolution or
Okay.
de-evolution,
Ratio is
depending on your
evolving.
perspective. That's also happening in my own home.
Yeah.
So, they're going with the times.
What are the times? What are they saying? Are they changing? Perhaps we can consult Timothy Chalamet on that. Okay, so my first pick, Jurassic Park. I wrote Hello T-Rex. That first
Okay.
introduction, the
The flare.
the flare and the guy who runs to the bathroom and the bathroom
Yeah.
breaks down. Jeff Goldblum and the images are getting maybe appear closer in your rearview mirror.
Do you start it with the puddle? The puddle, like
the
The
glass
water
of
glass?
water,
Yeah.
like water glass. Yeah, I think once the kids are getting scared is basically when that sequence starts. So Spielberg, he's got 2 on the board. I'm going back to Mission Impossible. I'm going to 2010's John Lark fight in Fallout. The bathroom fight.
Yeah. I knew this.
Henry
yeah.
Cavill, Tom Cruise, and the man they believe to be John Lark. And this is one of the great fight sequences in recent movie history, maybe in all of movie history. The movie's more or less sold on this scene and watching Henry Cavill reload his biceps. And one of the things I love about this movie that I was thinking about a little bit, even in doing the Jerry Maguire pod, is how it seems like Ethan Hunt should be super cool, super agent, but he's just constantly getting the shit beat out of him in all of these movies. And he knows that the way to endear himself to the audience is to just keep getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And in this scene in particular, he just gets pummeled. And
He gets thrown through so many sinks.
how could you? He doesn't have a cut on him.
I know.
A bruise on him. It's pretty remarkable stuff. Anyway, this scene is just totally electrifying. I think distinguishes Macquarie as, it's like Chad Stahelski and who else is on the short list of guys making action movies? I guess Joe Kosinski maybe is now on this list. There's a handful of people doing this kind of thing, and he's at the top for me. So Mission Impossible bathroom fight.
That's a good one. Okay. I feel confident. I have 4 picks now. And I'm just going to go with the one I really want, which I don't even know whether you guys will really want this. But back to the 90s, The Fugitive dam jump.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't like,
Yeah.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. Crawling through the tunnels for 2 minutes.
No,
and then he goes off the
That does
dam.
not include the bus accident or train.
That's
the bus and the train.
That's the title sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
well, it's not, it's before.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then that's how he's on the loose. Then Timely Jones comes in and is like, the suspect's name is
Right.
Dr. Richard Kimball.
Every outhouse,
and then,
henhouse,
yeah. So no, it's just the sequence of them going through the tunnel. And it's Tommy Lee Harrison Ford. And then he jumps off the dam.
Great one.
That's very important to me.
Will that be the last Andrew Davis selection on this
Probably.
podcast?
Okay.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Erica Ellenack coming out of a birthday cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I certainly clocked it in my day. How many films on your long list feature explicit nudity?
That's a great question. Actually, let me scroll through.
Pick Eastern Promises.
I don't, none off the top of my head, though I was going to ask. Because I should probably fill out my 80s. But maybe not. Does the Top Gun volleyball scene count as a set piece? Probably not.
No, I don't think
They're
so.
not choreographed.
There are other
but
Top
you
Gun
asked about
sequences
I
that- yeah.
I know, but you asked about explicit nudity, and that's kind of
Yeah, there's some abs.
as close as we're
There's
getting,
some
and
grease.
some jean shorts that fit more closely. Than
Do you like
they
when a
do.
man applies an oil to his torso? Is that something you want?
I think that you don't want to be aware that the oil has been applied.
I
That
do-
gets a little too bodybuilder.
I
Do you apply an
do
oil?
wish we could go back to
Yeah.
Hawaiian Tropic Panama Jack days, though.
Yeah.
That stuff smelled great.
You
They sell
Judged
there are
how many
plenty of
bikini
products
contests in your day.
for your skin at this point that also have that
I
smell.
want like that, like it's like browning liquid. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah. Like with
right,
the,
what they put on a turkey.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they get like foil out.
So that's not eligible, I don't think.
Okay, so that's not eligible. So, well, that was answering your explicit nudity question. I mean,
That wasn't really what I was going for, but sure.
okay, sorry. Would you like to?
No, he
just
was
jump
referring to
in?
Erica Elenia coming out of the
Yeah,
cake
yeah,
and
yeah.
Under Siege.
Okay, well, I'm not going to pick that. Let's see. So, I guess one I feel pretty confident about. 2000s. Yeah, no, this is good. Okay, so our first James Bond pick that I'm aware of, the Casino Royale parkour scene.
Yeah, that's what I have this on my list. This is a good one.
Which is that is the opening.
The kind of crane
Casino Royale.
construction sequence. Yeah.
When, first of all, like the only time that parkour had like a very short moment.
Mhm.
But
I never did it.
you,
I never did it.
what if you brought it back?
I really identified with it because it
Like
it
emotionally?
taps into a very only child thing that I think is like where you're looking at something, you're like, I bet I could jump off that. I mean, I think that's like a young boy thing. I don't think it's like
An only child thing.
Yeah, I think it's like a young kid where you're just like, I bet I could leap from my window to the tree.
I really want to unpack it, but I don't want to be mean, so I'm not going to do it. Really, your mind is just very special. It's a real only child thing to
You
think.
do get really bored.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
get
like
it,
you
I
spend
get
a
it.
lot
So
of
it's
time
like-
in
But
your
that is also
room.
something you can do with a friend.
I
Right.
have
Or a
friends.
sibling.
It's like,
But
no,
it's
because
like
if you have
if
a
you-
sibling, they're like, I'm gonna fucking suplex you. Like, that's what you were doing.
I
to
think you
Kyle.
misunderstood
Yeah.
siblinghood. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
I was in my warm embrace. I was showing him the great
Yeah,
arts.
the warm embrace of a
Okay.
DDT.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, let's
Hold
not leave
still.
Kara out of this. You were suplexing Kara too.
That
Okay?
may or may not have
Justice
been
for Kara.
happening. Yeah. God bless them both. We're very close. And you
Yeah.
know what? They earned their stripes. I want to thank them for their service.
So well, yeah, I understand that. I mean, I didn't try to jump out of windows, but did you ever actually jump out of a window?
no, I didn't. I was really responsible in that regard.
Really?
Yeah.
Not a,
Did you,
a
what?
daredevil of any kind?
No, I really wasn't.
Okay.
I was I kept it within the
You were
lines.
more just like faking being hit by the runner at home base or whatever.
He did make contact. I was just trying to sell it, and then it got away from me.
Would you describe yourself as smart mouthed as an adolescent?
Yes.
You were, but not just to your parents. I know you were a bit of a wise ass to your parents. What about like in social settings or in school?
I think I was too much of a wise ass. Yeah.
Did you ever think to tell them one day I'll make a career out of this smart?
Do you think
mouth?
I'm being a wise ass? I think I'm.
No, but
I,
you have a dexterous way with words.
I'm surprised that it wound up where it did.
The career,
Yeah.
the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
You got a powerful brain bin. You know, that's really all it takes. You got to
Okay.
pick.
No, I know.
I'm doing some of my best compliment vamping.
It seems super sincere.
Okay. So I have two more. I guess I'll go back to the Mission Impossible.
Jesus.
Wow.
Sorry, Tom Cruise jumped out of a fucking plane. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, the Halo
he
jump?
just,
Halo
yeah,
jump.
he Halo
Okay.
jumped out of a plane.
Yeah.
And he's still with us. So
That's also in Fallout.
I know.
Wow.
It's Lark
That
and
was-
Fallout.
I know when
It's
you were
Lark
like
season.
the Fallout was sold on this like fight, which I guess it was, but that's not really fair to Tom Cruise.
Me and
jumping
all the
out of a
boys
plane.
were like,
No, I know. You and all the boys were like, yes, I do remember that. But it couldn't happen
You and 6 guys with band
if he
t-shirts.
didn't jump out of a plane first.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
That was
That
pretty
fight
cool.
happened because he was willing to jump out of a plane.
Yeah.
The genius of that sequence is Cavill passing out immediately and then landing on his feet because Tom saves him. I love that bit. That actually is one of the early signs of them doing.
Having like
Buster
a sense
Keaton.
of humor.
Yeah. I love that.
Okay, what should I do here? I guess I don't have anything from the 2020s.
I'm curious about what your 2020s looks like.
We've been pretty evenly distributed so far.
On like decades.
Yeah, we each have an 80s, we each have a 90s, we each have a 2000s, and we each
Yeah.
have a 2010s. And Chris has one 2020s.
Like at this point, I don't feel that there are that many things that you're going to take away from me. So, now I'm just like, what order should I go in? I guess for variety's sake, 2020s, I'll do Sacre-Cœur from John Wick 4.
I had that.
Yeah.
Good
It's
call.
really which to your point about the Buster Keaton, the comedyization or just the screwball nature and understanding the different ways that a fight sequence can be choreographed.
There
and
are
can
like
land.
4 things from Wick 4 that I think
Yeah,
you could
they're so
make
good.
a legitimate case for.
And
Maybe we'll
and
come
you
back
can
to
pick
it.
them. The Sacre-Cœur steps are my favorite.
Okay. So you got 2.
I have 4.
You have 2 more to go.
No.
Right?
I just
She
did.
just did 4.
Yeah, I
just
just
did
did 4.
4.
I did Fugitive Dam Jump, Casino Royale parkour scene,
Oh, wow.
Fallout jumping
at
out of
you.
a plane, Sacre-Cœur John Wick 4.
Guns and Ammo, Amanda.
Good job.
Yeah.
Guns
Okay.
and Amanda.
Okay. So I've got 2 more picks. I guess I need to go for a 2020s before things start running thin. This is easy. This was my number 1 of the 2020s. The final mission in Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, good
yeah.
one.
I had this, but I thought you were going
Yeah.
to take something else
From that movie,
from that decade.
I have a couple more on
Okay.
the list. Hopefully I get one of them.
Mhm.
That is more of a personal pick. But the final mission is the same thing I'm describing with most of my picks, where I'm just like, oh my God, like
Right.
they really just wrapped your heart up. And I think the payoff is really good with, Cruise sacrificing himself and then Miles Teller foolishly also sacrificing himself and
And then
doubling back for him. But
Right.
the way that they set up the video game strategy to set up our expectations for the mission itself, for the drop and for hitting the marks and for rising high enough and then reaching the plateau and then crashing down is so amazing, just so exciting. And so, I mean, people obviously crying and cheering and standing
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
applauding. And obviously a lot of that was movies were so back when that was all
Right.
happening. It did feel like I was like, this podcast will continue when that
Yeah.
when that moment happened. I was like, we will continue to have films in movie theaters collectively. But also everything that you bring to the Cruise experience and to the Maverick character and feeling like he really needs this and Meg Ryan really needs this for Miles to rise and succeed. So that's kind of a no-brainer for me. That was the first one I thought of for the 2020s. Okay. So now I've got another pick. I've currently got
so fucking good.
It's amazing.
Coffin Corner. They gotta fucking go straight up.
You know where I learned about Coffin Corner? Madden from my punter.
Oh.
That's where they teach you how to punt the ball into the corner just to the left of where the end zone begins. You know about that?
I didn't know, but I learn things from you guys every day.
I was really good at Madden.
Okay.
I haven't played in 20 years, but once upon a time, I was pretty good at it. Do you miss video games?
I still play FIFA.
You do?
Yeah.
Every day?
No, but like especially when Phoebe's
Same,
out.
same. Did you hear about the Legend of Zelda situation on the pod earlier this week?
No, what happened?
I mean, I was curious what the legend was.
Like,
Van and
what
I couldn't
is
tell
her
her.
legend? And they didn't know the answer.
I did not know.
Just simple questions. Do you know?
She's got to find the princess. He's got to find this
Yeah, but
Link,
Zelda
right?
is the
It's Link.
princess.
Right, you got to find her.
Yeah, but like why? What happened?
More or less exactly what we said. I've been told we were not very articulate.
Didn't like some monster hide her away?
Yeah, Ganon.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Ganon, the
let me
head
tell
coach of
you,
the Arizona
they didn't-
Cardinals.
Yeah, they didn't mention Ganon. That was not.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay, I don't remember it. I
Not
was
listening. Not listening on the pod. Okay, one more pick. I like this idea where we can just have like 9 movies in one category. Maybe we'll keep expanding the parameters. Probably not as competitive, and I know people love to hear us bicker, but
It doesn't matter. They'll just be like, I can't believe you didn't mention.
2000s, I'm going Kill Bill Volume 1, Bride versus the Crazy
Crazy
Eights.
Eights,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the first time I've really been like, it's so close.
Well,
I
how
got
did
it.
you not know that he? Well, sorry, yeah.
No, but I was.
I'm
you know,
surprised it took you this.
I've
long.
had it taken away from
Yeah.
me on a couple of drafts this movie.
Yeah.
and
I know.
this
I always
movie-
take Quentin early, and you're like, God damn you.
Yeah, and I should know better, and so this is even probably too late for how much I like this and how much that
I
same feeling I'm
rewatched it this
describing.
morning, and then I was like, I'm not gonna get this. Sean's gonna get it. So
Really,
really,
we had our chances. It doesn't quite live in that like Die Hard, Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible realm. Tarantino doesn't do a lot of classical action set pieces. This is, of course, like a huge homage to the kung fu movies that he loves. But this one is extended and hilarious and beautiful and gross and kind of the culmination, I think, of his work as like a kinetic filmmaker. Like he's a great writer of characters. He's a great writer of story, but pure visual excitement.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie is weirdly underrated, like not forgotten.
No, it's
But-
yeah.
for as much like recurring Quentin celebration that happens, I think Kill Bill is the one. Like Jackie Brown got like a full on like reappreciation.
Yes.
Like
it was reclaimed
reevaluation.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still somewhat like people think of it as like the most genre of all of his movies, even
Yes.
though like
and it is.
and it is, even though in every movie he is like reinventing his love for a genre.
Yeah.
But so, Jackie Brown's a crime. So like it just hasn't gotten its moment yet.
I wonder when that will be. Anyway,
You can start it right now.
it's amazing. And also Uma Thurman is clearly just doing a lot of this
Stunt work.
action, this stunt work, this
Mhm.
swordplay. Like she is in images. Obviously, Zoe Bell, who went on to star in a bunch of Quentin's movies, was her stunt double and did a lot of work. But you can see Uma Thurman's face in so many great sequences
Yeah.
in this movie. It's completely thrilling, super fun. So Kill Bill Volume 1 is my second pick of this round. Okay. CR, you were one pick away.
Okay. In the 1980s, I will take the Potemkin train station from The Untouchables. So Brian De Palma back on the board.
Good one.
The carriage.
Yeah.
That's like, I think it's like 10 minutes long from when they enter the train to when they get out.
Absolutely horrifying.
De Palma number
really,
2.
Really, really, I didn't
Good
occur to
one.
me,
This-
but
I
that's
didn't
a
think of
really
this one
smart
either.
one.
Yeah, this is
Great pick.
one of like the teach it in film school.
Good job, CR.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And I still fucking love the like Costner tossing the gun to Garcia, you know, or whatever. You remember like the gun toss, and then it's like holding the carriage up while he's got the other guy. Fucking sick.
You haven't weighed in on Horizon yet. You're interested?
What do you mean I haven't weighed in on Horizon yet?
I
said that
talking
our
about it
live
earlier.
the next live rewatchable we should do is all 4 Horizons for 12 hours.
Watch along. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you in for that?
Sure. I think that's like, what will happen first? Horizon 4 will be made, or we'll all die? Or this podcast will
I don't
end?
know. Apparently, he's starting production on 3 right now.
Uh-huh.
We shall see. Okay, The Untouchable. So you've got 2 80s movies?
Yeah, I got my 2 80s. I'm gonna go for the 2000s. I will do let's get back with Uncle Steve. Steve Spielberg, Pods emerge from War of the Worlds.
Ooh.
So that whole sequence of him walking through town and being like, hey, like, you guys, what's going on? Why is there a blackout? And then like everybody gathering around the hole, and then the machines coming out of the ground
That's
and
an
then
interesting
vaporizing
choice.
everybody is such an awesome, and then him trying to find his kids and everything. So
I like that pick a lot, and that sequence feels like him realizing his dreams of what kind of movie he was going to make when he was 9 years old.
yes,
I personally would have selected the boat sequence more so.
that's
like
very
the escape
that's
to the
a
ferry.
terrifying, like the crowd push there.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
they're both those are both
Yeah,
really
those are
good.
really good.
That movie also, I'm like, this is a little bit lost. Why is this not?
Also, yeah, and the plane crash sequence when he's like, you don't see it,
yes.
but when he takes the kids down into the basement when they wake up, the plane's there.
Right.
Okay, so that's 80s. I got Potemkin. 2000s. It's Pods emerge. I'm gonna do this one. This is just for shits and giggles because in the theater, I was like, I'm ready now. Like if I die right now, like it all came full circle.
You did the Daniel Plainview Unfinished?
Nope. I did Vader in Rogue One.
Oh
my
yeah.
Because I was like, we did it. We came back to where it all started, you know, and we reshot A New Hope. And it's sick, and it's better, and it fucking rules. And Vader's throwing guys around and cutting them up, but he still doesn't get the message.
This is my brother. Yeah, that's the youngest I've ever felt in my adult life in a movie theater.
Also,
I was
just,
like, I'm 9.
Yeah.
I'm 9, and this is
That's
amazing.
great,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
As
really
a set
great.
piece within the context of the film, the movie's over. And you're like, oh, the movie's over. And you're like, the movie's still going. The movie's still going. Oh my God. Is this happening?
Yeah. The setup is amazing where he's standing in the dark and he's illuminated by turning on his lightsaber. And it's a horror movie. It's 90 seconds of a horror movie.
Yeah.
And it's the best Star Wars horror movie ever. And I don't know why they don't lean into that more. Like the Force is
Right.
fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like it is a dangerous thing. And Star Wars is too nice. That's one of my
Yeah,
takes.
well,
Way too nice. Make
It's
it mean.
not for you. It's for children.
I know. It's a shame. That's an interesting pick.
Thanks. In a good way?
Well, I mean, I love that scene, so yeah.
In the 2020s,
Mm.
oh God, I'm going to do the village raid from the Northman.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yes.
This is big Europe
Yeah.
coming to.
This is-
Right. You've come home a Viking.
I did. We're talking about oiling up.
True.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You
shut up,
know?
that
Yeah.
guy.
Skarsgård was
Egger's
swole.
just fucking going complete full raid here. It's so good. Skarsgård's so good. There's this, we didn't really talk about the utilization of long takes or oneers within these
That's
things,
right.
but this is obviously got like a very long shot in it. But the whole sequence is just astonishing.
Did you see The Northman? I think you were on leave.
I was on leave, so I never saw it in full. I have familiarize myself with what
Mhm.
Alexander Skarsgård's up to in that movie.
Okay.
Anya too.
He's becoming
Certainly
a beast.
physique wise. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. But I'm more meant visually. I
What
like
was
to
the-
keep up on that situation.
What's the whole like mantra in that movie? I
Uh,
will avenge you,
I-
father. Like,
I mean, yeah, it's like a famous Norse
yeah.
proclamation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie rocks extremely hard. That movie is an AC/DC album. Very, very, very excited for Nosferatu. I would like to see
Mhm.
it today.
Okay, so that was 3.
I believe so.
I'm sorry. So Untouchables, War of the Worlds.
Yeah, no, that was your fourth.
That
That
was
was
your
my
fourth.
fourth.
Untouchables, War of the Worlds, The
Rogue
Northman,
One and
Rogue
Northman.
One. Those were some
Those were
kinky
yeah.
picks.
Yeah, I wanted to
Good job,
be
CR.
That's nice.
kinky picks.
I've got 2 picks, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I want more than 2 90s movies. And
Well, you
there's
do
a
have
couple
Red-
that are
you
still
have
on the
Wild
board.
Card. Yeah.
Oh, I have Wild Card. I know they won't all last, I don't think.
I mean, there are some like truly like classic
There's a couple iconic things.
that I
yeah.
can't believe haven't been taken yet.
I have to do Terminator 2 Judgment Day, T800 versus T1000.
Okay.
The final battle.
So
in
not the LA River.
I
No,
would have thought
because-
you would do LA River too.
It's just the chase.
Yeah.
It's not it's good. It's really good. It's really good. Come with me if you want to live. Like that. It's really exciting and fun and works great. And Guns N' Roses, You Could Be Mine. Absolutely. Huge fan. I was there day 1 at Tower Records.
Okay.
Use Your Illusion Volume 1 and 2, please.
You're the only Guns N' Roses fan. You get it.
No, I'm pledging my allegiance. But the ending is very similar to the Jurassic Park thing where I was like, did not know. I didn't know this was possible. And to be a kid when something like that was happening, I'm sure kids who saw Star Wars felt the same way when they saw the Millennium Falcon rise up and go into hyperspace. But the final battle, there's a moment specifically when the T-1000 touches they're in the middle of their fight and he touches a bar and his hand becomes the same color as like the caution, like hazard tape on the bar, where you're like, what even is this technology of this molten shape-shifting mega killing robot? Like there's no way this thing will ever be destroyed. Like I actually believed that Arnold was cooked, and he wasn't. Obviously, he figured it out.
Yeah.
But just an amazing sequence. Is this is the second Cameron
Yeah, because we had aliens.
Enter Aliens? So that's my first one. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Okay. We've got 2 90s, 2 2000s, 1 2010s, 1 2020s. This is the Marvel one I was talking about. I'll take it in 2010s. I really, really like it. I like Winter Soldier. I'm not in the hive of like Winter Soldier is one of the coolest movies ever made. And I certainly don't think it's the Parallax View. But there's an elevator
think it's
fight
better?
sequence
Yeah.
that what is?
Do you think it's better? Do you
I think
think
it's
that the Russos are better filmmakers than Warren Beatty?
You know that I don't. You know that I don't. You know that I worship. I was at Rules Don't Apply. Can I tell you something?
You know what? I still have not seen Rules Don't Apply. When will we watch it?
So I don't know. I mean, I would love to do a Warren Beatty episode at some point. So I was planning for next week's episode. So next week's episode is If and Back to Black. And I've been thinking, so If, which you've been really anticipating, the
Yeah.
John
We're
Krasinski
actually going
film.
together on Friday morning. Would
Yeah.
you like to come?
I discussed this with him. I think
Oh.
that I will stake my claim that I will never see If
Okay.
ever.
I thought that might be the case,
I
as
know,
I've
but
alluded
I just
to.
thought it would be funny.
On Friday, I actually have a couple of things I got to do.
Okay, so If and Back to Black are coming out. I also thought it would be really funny if we added Unfrosted, the Jerry Seinfeld Pop-Tarts movie, to this
Oh,
list.
God. Yeah.
And we
my
could do
God.
we could just
Oh,
do a May
geez.
Massacre, like the
Yeah.
But so then I was looking back at like worst release dates in history, worst movie releases in history, and so the movies that opened the widest with the lowest box office, and Rules Don't Apply is literally like 8th all time.
Yeah.
They would open to like 2,400 screens and made $1.2 million.
If's going to make a lot of money, though, right?
I think it'll be very popular. Yeah, critics do not seem to be enjoying it. I haven't seen it yet, so who knows? We'll see. Maybe what if I love it?
Yeah. What if you start crying?
Oh, my God.
I'm just going to call you a cock last on the podcast.
All right. speaking of being called a cuck, I am taking a Marvel film.
Yeah.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The elevator sequence between Chris Evans
Grillo.
and Frank Grillo and all the boys in Hydra. They all get on the elevator together.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the one time where Marvel just turns into John Wick. The choreography and the execution of that scene, which is pretty short, but the tension that is built up as more and more dudes get like black, bulletproof vest wearing dudes keep getting on this elevator. And then there's 3 get on, and then 3 get on, and then 3 get on. And Chris Evans is looking around and he's like, shit, I'm gonna have to do some damage. And it ends with 2 really cool things. One, classic, like step on the shield and he catches the shield after he's dispatched all the guys. And then 2, the elevator finally opens and then there's 100 more guys running at him.
Mm-hmm.
And so his only option is to literally jump through the broken glass of the elevator and fall.
Yeah.
And he falls like 10 stories and just lands on his shield and it just looks like it hurts like a motherfucker. Obviously he's a super soldier, so he's fine. But again, like good bit of comedy and a really cool action scene.
One of my favorite Loki things is when it's obvious that the 2 people in the fight, there's like Frank Grillo could obviously beat Chris Evans up in real life, but like is like, oh no, Captain America, you're kicking my ass.
In that scene, at least in fairness to him, when he's got like a giant taser, I think his line is like, nothing personal, Cap, which is pretty funny.
But this is like up there with like Conor McGregor versus Jake Gyllenhaal, Like
yeah. Well, don't spoil your next pick. I mean,
God.
We forgot to mention Roadhouse 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Did you see Roadhouse 1?
No.
Okay.
Did you guys like it?
We enjoyed ourselves.
It's pretty
Okay.
bad, but it was fun.
Yeah.
But it
That
seemed
might
like
be
it
the
was kind
theme
of
of
like
the year.
Getting more of that lately. Yeah.
but fun.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, your definition of fun is different than
You
my
would not think
definition
it's
of
fun. No.
So I didn't.
I
didn't
wouldn't
check
say
it
there
out.
were very many sharply drawn female characters in the world of Roadhouse.
According to Chris's close personal friend Jeff Bezos, 80 million people watched Roadhouse.
That's right.
Well, we were too.
80
Okay.
million.
Yeah.
There
Chris
you
and I
go.
were seated.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've made my 2 picks, right?
Drawn female characters.
Right? It's fair to say.
Yeah.
So I took Terminator 2 and Captain America Civil War. Or Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Okay. So I have 2 90s picks and everything else I have 1. So I think I'm going to try to fill them out.
Okay.
In the 2000s, I'm going to do from Born Identity, the Escaping the Embassy.
Oh, great call.
Which is like, I know that people
grabbing the radio.
Yeah, I know that people would probably do some more of the just Matt Damon punching people
Or the Mini Cooper chase.
Sure,
Yeah.
but he has to jump out of
It's incredible.
It is another one of those where it's like it is a set piece. He is moving through the embassy. He's got to figure out. He's got to evade a bunch of people. He's got to climb down the thing.
Grabs the
etc.
map.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm a fan of those films. So that's 2000s.
I'm listening to you.
Okay. In 80s, since I didn't get the Top Gun Maverick last dogfight, I will take Top Gun
Mhm.
last dogfight.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Re-engage Maverick.
which is really important.
Do you think they did Goose dirty in that film? Do you think they should have let him live?
No, I think that it brings the emotion to both that film and the other film. I mean, I'm sorry for him.
Why don't they kill more characters now in the 2020s?
Because they need them to come back in the sequels and part 3s.
They cucked out so hard on Chewbacca.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst things that happened in movies in 2019.
This is like who's the South Dakota lady?
Christy Nome.
Yeah, you're like verging really close to Christy Nome territory.
I'm
right
not
now.
familiar with her game.
She killed her dog.
And then wrote about it in she shot her dog and wrote about it in her memoir.
Yeah, because it wasn't a good enough hunting dog or something like that,
Yeah.
or it was annoying some other pet
And
of
then
hers.
it was also like she was like, and they should have killed Commander, the Biden dog, as well.
Who said that?
This
Christy
same
Nome.
woman, Christy Nome.
What?
You got to read the paper, man.
This is-
Yeah.
That sounds like I shouldn't.
yeah, so people are upset about that.
Did you read the entire memoir?
No, I didn't. I just read the excerpts. In fact, I haven't read it in context, so I don't know what kind of issues this dog was having.
That's a wild take to say you should kill someone else's dog.
No,
Yeah.
her own dog.
Right,
but she said you should kill
Oh,
Commander.
and she was just like, oh, and Biden should kill Commander.
Commander was definitely.
Mhm.
I don't agree with the approach that they took with Commander, but I also don't think that Commander.
Yeah,
needs to
I
be
mean, it's
shot.
got to be bipartisan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you guys know that if Alice was going to be a boy, we were going to name her Commander?
Fennessey.
Didn't work out that way.
Okay. So that was 80s. 2010s, let's be real. I'm gonna do the Fast Five Safe Heist.
Let's be real.
Which is my brand. Because here's what happened.
Is that when they jump out of the building into another building?
No, it's when they want to get into the safe, but they can't get into the safe, so they attach a bunch of cars to it. And then they remove the safe from the bank and they just drag this giant safe around Rio
wow, okay.
from the back of the cars.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest, best thing that's ever happened. And it is like,
I love that you love these movies.
I don't actually, like the more they go on, I realize I just love the safe heist.
Right.
It is where my interest in stupid fun, but there is also like a little bit of, there is comedy in it. Like that's funny,
Yeah.
right? They're like, we can't get into the safe, but we can just go like this. And then they do like a safe swap at some point. So that Dwayne,
Oh, right.
yeah. None of it makes any sense, but it's great.
And that's Fast Five.
That's
I think
Fast
I have
Five.
seen that one.
This is the franchise that destroyed film.
Listen, that's fine. I agree. It certainly destroyed Brie Larson's career. And then 2020s, I'm going to go back to Cars and I'm going to go back to Mission Impossible.
Whoa!
Oh.
Well,
A trifecta.
listen, I like these. I enjoy these films.
It's great. I'm not criticizing.
So I am
Just
going.
exclaiming.
I'm going to do the Rome car chase set piece from A Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. with
Also
Haley
in
Atwell.
a very small car. So in a way,
Yeah,
you've
exactly.
got Mini Cooper
And also,
representation.
again, very funny as well as well choreographed.
So you
and
hung me
exciting.
out to dry all summer with Fallout. You didn't
with
support
Dead
me.
Reckoning.
Yeah, sorry, with Dead Reckoning.
I was very specific about my notes on Dead Reckoning.
You didn't support me.
Which is the AI shit is not compelling. And also now
Those
it's just gonna be like-
velociraptors in the Sicario tunnel
It's
would have
gonna be a
something to say
whole-
about that.
it's going to be a whole underwater sequel. And I don't really like underwater action that much. No one has really picked here a lot of
I
underwater
was wondering
like
if
deep
you have
dives.
another one coming.
For underwater?
Yeah.
I doubt it, actually.
Okay. Interesting. Good to know. So how many have you made now?
So I think that was all 4 because I did. What did I do? I did Top Gun: Last Dogfight for 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I did Born Escaping the Embassy for 2000s.
Mhm.
Fast Five Safe Heist for
Okay.
2010s. And the Mission Impossible, the Dead Reckoning car chase for 2020s.
Okay. So we're getting down
Yeah.
nearer to the end of it.
So I just have wild cards left.
So I presently have 1 80s, 2 90s, 2 2000s, 2 2010s, and 1 2020s. So let's just close those out before wildcard, shall we? I'm going back to Brian De Palma. I'm going to say hello to my little friend from Scarface.
Nice.
Good one.
This is the action sequence that invented hip hop and video games.
Yeah.
And
Both, I think, probably existed before this, but yeah. but
You're
not
like-
to
but
me.
go off,
You're,
King.
you're like really Christine Homing really hard right now.
Yeah. If only someone had shot Scarface's dog, maybe we wouldn't have gotten into this trouble in the first place.
I think that would have just motivated him more.
Probably.
Yeah. Or he might have shot his own dog,
What can you say? Coked out Al Pacino with
Yeah.
a machine gun,
Yeah.
It's good-
firing at
it's
all of
good
his
stuff.
enemies,
Yeah.
his haters. This is me reading YouTube comments. This is sometimes you have to channel that energy. YouTube.com/RingerMovies, please. That's my first pick.
Okay.
So 2020s. Got to go with the heart, obviously. And by the heart, I mean the heart surgery and ambulance, Michael Bay's masterpiece.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
That's right. Thank you. Thanks, brother.
There was just a fist bump between Chris and Sean for those of you listening at home.
Ambulance bombed so hard.
It didn't.
I know, but
It didn't.
America said
You-
no, and Chris and I cried together.
I think this movie came out while I was on leave. And I listened to every minute of you two morons
Bash
just being like,
Brothersing.
this is the most
Yeah.
important thing
Scott
that
and
has
Rick
ever
In
Steiner.
happened
20
to
years,
cinema.
people are going
And
to
it
look
was
back at this
beautiful.
and Six Underground and they were going to be like, we fucked up.
Yes.
I will be really honest. For like 1 second, I did think about like the first Six Underground car
Oh.
chase through Rome that like at some point they shoot up the Uffizi or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then
it's
I was
sick.
like, no.
There's also
but-
the boat magnet sequence in
oh,
Six Underground.
Oh shit, that's right.
Both of those movies are incredible. And people who don't agree need to wake up.
Yeah.
They need to wake up. They need to read Christy Nome's memoir. They need to better understand.
Yeah. Stop watching Kelly Reichardt movies. Don't watch First Cow. Watch Six Underground.
I have a
Sean
few-
Fennessey.
I guess multitudes.
Yeah.
Multitudes.
That's
That's the
beautiful.
whole thing. That's the reason we're
What
doing
you
this.
guys have going with Ambulance is really
No,
beautiful.
Ambulance is a fucking masterpiece.
It's sick.
Yeah.
It's so sick.
There's 3 sequences in Ambulance that I had.
Every single other movie that's like, I have a cool idea for a drone shot, it's me lazily following a car through the forest. Those people suck.
He
Michael
threw
Bay-
a fucking drone under like
A
truck.
truck.
Yeah. And then there's a scene where like a fucking helicopter is like flying under bridges in the LA River.
He actually saw Terminator 2 and he's like, my
I can-
balls are bigger.
He did an LA River sequence.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
What a king.
He is a lord. This is the only Michael Bay pick so far. Pretty crazy. I guess there's a chance for others.
Yeah.
So I don't want to step on
Okay.
any of them, but we should probably pay more homage to Michael Bay, the maestro of mayhem. Okay. Those are my 2 picks.
I got 4. So I have to do a 90s.
These are your last 4.
Yeah, 90s, a 2000s. What do I owe here, Bob?
You've got 2 wild cards.
Oh, 2 wild cards. And the
and
wild
a
cards
90s
can
and
be
a 2000s.
pre-80s or it can be anything.
So the wild cards, we didn't mention this. They can be anything. So they can be, Chris suggested maybe if there was some silent cinema you might want to draft
Oh, yeah.
from.
Yeah,
you
Abel
know,
Gantz.
I won't name any names. If you want to draft from the 40s, the 70s.
What about from television?
No.
Interesting.
But you can also
Prejudice
draft
on your
still
part.
from the 2000s or from the 90s.
Yes,
right?
you
Yeah.
can. Of
Okay.
course. You can
Yeah.
repeat the
So I have
decades.
4 picks. For the 1990s, this one, I wouldn't feel good about this not getting picked. It's the ramp jump from Speed.
Oh, interesting. I had Keanu boarding the bus,
Oh, that's
which
a great
I could
one
Both
still
good.
also
Yeah.
have.
Both good.
You
The
know.
ramp jump from Speed, a really great piece of filmmaking where you're like, are they going to make it? Like,
Yeah.
and there's actually like an emotional component to that with like the other SWAT guys being like, oh shit, like
Mhm.
looks like they're gonna die, you know? And it's just a great bit where there's also like that budding romance between Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves in the moment, you know,
Mhm,
and they're like
mhm.
pulls her in. It's great. It's just
Did
great.
you see that they said that they would be open to Speed 3
Yes,
together
I
in
did.
an interview?
Oh.
Do you think Jason Patrick will be coming back or from Speed 2?
Yeah, he's going to be murdered in the first minute of the film.
Okay, so I have the ramp jump from Speed. That's my 90s. For my second 2000s, I'm going to take the hammer fight from Old Boy.
Yeah, this was
Oh.
next on my list from the 2000s as well.
You just direct eye contact with me as you enunciated the hammer fight from Old Boy.
Well, people want to make
Yeah,
sure
sure.
that
The
I'm saying
hallway fight sequence.
Yes.
Yeah. Incredible.
it's just a guy hitting guys with hammers.
You really have been Park Chan-wooking lately.
He's a quite an important filmmaker to
Yeah.
me. So yeah, this is a long tracking shot going on along a hall as this guy fights his way through countless adversaries with a hammer. And he hits him in the head.
Incredible one.
Wild cards. And I can't pick TV.
No.
So just as like a nod, I'll do the final shootout from the Wild Bunch.
Very good. Very good.
To our guy Sam Peckinpah, another
Yeah.
problematic filmmaker
Mhm.
who I don't think
Mhm.
would really have survived a Guardian expose about his
He enjoyed consuming marijuana as well.
cocaine, marijuana,
Yeah.
whiskey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was getting high on films.
I
But there's a lucidity in the Wild Bunch.
want to pick one thing for us because I think we really enjoyed it. I hope I
Oh,
don't
that's
take
so
it
nice.
from you.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's the Freehold heist from Tenet.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
It's on the
several
list.
things from Tenet you
I
could pick.
totally
Freehold
forgot
is
about
that's
freeholds.
where the paintings are stored.
Yes.
That
yeah,
part.
yeah, For
yeah.
tax evasion, they exist all over.
Yeah.
Thank you so
And
much.
I believe
for
that is
bringing
when they
freeholds.
first start fighting backwards.
Free ports.
Freeport.
Right.
The
Not
Freeport heist.
Freehold, New Jersey,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Freeport.
Freeport.
No, I'm
just what
talking
they're
about
called.
Robert Pattinson's on the turnpike. He's
Would
getting
watch.
Cinnabon.
So I thought you could do that. You could do the opera
symphony,
raid.
yeah.
I have the
You-
opera.
You,
Yeah,
could
I
do
Shot in Oslo.
the kitchen fight.
Shot in
You
Oslo.
could do the temporal pincer movement.
You could. I mean, you could do the highway chase.
the
that they
highway,
then
the reverse
run it
highway
back.
chase. What a fucking
Yeah.
banger!
I can't believe Tenet.
If Tenet came out
yeah.
this year, I honestly think that like everything would be solved. Like we would all like smoke the
Re-release
peace
it.
pipe
Let's
and
go.
just be like, actually, it's chill, man. Don't worry about it. Tenet's out.
I'm not right about a lot of things, but
Putin and Zelensky just like meeting in the middle.
yeah, Predator meme.
Great.
Sorry. What else? I want to get a little bit of horror.
Do
In
you
in
have
here.
more picks?
I don't think you have any more.
No,
picks.
Oh, I don't have any
you're
more
done.
wild cards?
You're
That's
done,
it?
Chris. You're
I'm
done.
out?
That's it.
I mean, it's
What did I
beautiful.
pick?
Let's keep going.
You just picked Tenet and the Wild Bunch as your wild cards.
And then I had my 90s. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just mention
Okay.
these later.
but
Yeah.
if you'd like to continue to speak, I guess
no,
can
you
do-
guys
okay.
got to finish up.
I've got 2 picks. I've got 2 wild card selections left.
Yeah.
I've got a ton of movies that I can't believe I'm not going to take, but I'm going to take one 1970s pick. I'm going to take Quint's demise from Jaws,
Oh, sure.
where the size and scope of Bruce
Great
the
job.
shark is fully revealed.
hmm
Obviously, coming on the heels of the incredible monologue that he delivers the night before.
Shark goes in the water.
You keep going. So that's another Spielberg,
Yeah.
and then to just keep it super contemporary, super contempt.
Super.
The pool party and night swim.
No, Paul Atreides riding Shai Hulud,
Oh,
good one.
hey.
Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
Way to
That's
go,
good.
man.
which is the same thing that we're talking about, that electrified feeling that is literally the reason I go to the movies, which is to stand up and cheer. Those were my 2 wild
That's
cards.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. So my first pick is going to be another pick from the 90s, but not from a traditional action movie. And it is the ship going down.
This is
in
a perfect
Titanic.
pick.
Oh, good.
This
Yeah.
is like
Which,
this and
like-
Trinity test.
Good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can't believe like I
Got it in the last. Like,
like that this is these are
Yeah,
the last
yeah.
picks.
I didn't
that
even
I'm
think
the
of
only
it,
one
but you're
giving
right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course it's Sue and Winslet and Leo like holding hands
Mhm.
and taking that one last breath.
Totally perfect.
Perfect movie. Shout out Big Jim. And then I mean I have a lot of options of things that I could do. And there are some things here I'm kind of torn. I'm torn. And like part of me wants to do a different one for variety and for like Amanda's heart, but then you also okay, I'm choosing between I'm not gonna take the Velociraptors getting into the kitchen from
Okay.
Jurassic Park because you already did Jurassic Park, but
So you're doing the Matrix Reloaded.
that gives me another idea. Is like, what
Yeah.
if we put Velociraptors in the next season of The Bear?
but it is
Great point.
but the
We should just
It's
recast.
like a raptor being
Yeah.
like, "Yes, chef."
the
Heard.
Velociraptors being able to open the
Why not?
That's good.
Yeah.
it's very scary. It is also like if you live with a toddler, like the moment that they can open the door and then get through, it is
Yeah.
the most real.
I'm
It's
struggling with that right now, to be honest with
but
you.
like it happens, and it is that level of fear realized in the home.
Where they're like,
Yeah, I mean, you see, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Okay, the one that I'm going to take, and I'm deciding between 2 heists. In one film that's very important to me. I didn't get the Heat bank robbery, but I can still take the Town bank robbery.
yes.
Mm.
The f-
Or, and I think what I'm actually going to do is take the Fenway heist
that's good.
from the Town.
That's good stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
You don't. I mean,
No, I'm trying to think of which I like better. They're both good.
yeah.
I think that's the better pick because the bank heist is too iterative of Heat.
Yeah, and it's still
too much
very good. There's
homage.
also like the one scene also iterative Heat when they're like in the nun masks
Yes.
Mhm.
and then they show up and the police officer is right there
Yeah.
and just looks away, which
Yeah.
is not even full action. There's a lot of
And that's a
good
little
stuff,
point breaky
Yeah.
as well.
but,
Point break.
I know.
but the Fenway heist brings it all together. That's also this is the not fucking around
Not
crew,
fucking
right?
around crew.
Yeah, which is extremely important. And I really love the film The Town.
Does John Hamm being an unfrosted make it more appealing to you?
It's John Hamm.
Do you know
and
John
Frosted?
Hamm's going to be in the next Taylor Sheridan show?
He is.
It's called Landman, and it's about Billy Bob Thornton and John Hamm are oil barons.
No.
Yeah,
No.
But they work for the Bene Gesserit.
and they work for Velociraptors.
What time period?
Contemporary. It's like contemporary oil.
Do we have oil barons
like right
in
now?
the United States
So
right
they're
now?
just
I
like
assume we do.
rich people in Houston?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I don't
okay.
know if it's like right now. They're shooting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did T. Boone Pickens pass?
He
Is he
did,
still
I
going?
think. I think he did.
He did.
Yeah. But not before he blessed the Oklahoma State University with just incredible athletic facilities.
Yeah, 2019. Was he a good man? Who can say? He had a net worth of $500 million. It's hard to get that much money without being a landman. Okay. Honorable
it.
mentions.
Oh, I mean, so many. I cannot believe that Neo dodging the bullets didn't
fucked
get
up.
drafted.
Yeah, there's a
It's
lot.
the next on my list for the 1990s. I think I went with a childlike pick with T2, but I actually
I
To
also
me,
went with my heart with the
there's
90s,
three.
so that's fine.
There's three for Neo. There's the training sequence
Mhm.
with Morpheus,
There's the lobby
Yeah.
shootout.
which is amazing. The lobby shootout I like, but is just guns, and I don't think that that's what's great about that.
Well, and then
movie.
there's Dodge This up on the roof.
There's dodge this, and then there's no when he
Oh, yeah.
stops the bullets
Right.
at the end. All of those are
Those are cool
Perfect.
scenes.
Yeah.
not quite.
But I
Yeah, they don't
mean,
quite do.
But this dodging the bullets
You
is
know
like,
what
I
it
mean,
is, though?
it's stupid that one of us didn't do it.
It doesn't like look that good anymore.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Maybe Michael Bay should remake The
Yeah.
Matrix
Would watch.
with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Would definitely watch.
Yeah.
That is my number one honorable mention, though. Was The Matrix not going drafted? So I'm with you, Amanda.
Oh man, we left a bunch off. The car and foot chase in Point Break
Yes.
Yeah.
with Catherine Bigelow running behind those guys.
Incredible.
I was going to put the Moscow car chase from Born Supremacy, which is like green
Mhm.
grass at his most
Yeah.
shaky cam.
Yep.
That's Carl
Yep.
Urban chasing Matt Damon. I had Helm's Deep from
I wrote it down.
The Two Towers.
The big battle in the
Yeah,
second
the big
Lord of
battle in the
Rings
second
movie.
Lord of the Rings, which is largely
Don't recall.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bow.
Okay.
But that's sick for you guys. Were those wizards? Were those elves?
all of them. They're all there.
Hobbits? Do hobbits fight or are hobbits pacifists?
Certainly. No,
Yeah, wow.
they have to go to war. They ride on the Ents. You know what the Ents are?
No, what are
They're
those?
giant trees.
Yeah, they're tree people.
They're walking trees.
You know, one thing
So
that is
how are they riding the tree? Like, are they just sitting
Sitting
in
on
the
a branch.
branches?
Yeah.
And then the tree people.
And they're like
And then
fighting.
is it like, are they like
orcs?
jousting, or are they dropping things? Like, what's
They're
their
kind of
fight
just like
strategy?
picking up orcs and throwing them down.
Okay.
to bring it full circle to what we talked about earlier in this pod. Are you surprised that nothing from Fury Road got picked, or is Fury Road so frenetic? I mean, like the Sandstorm would be the probably.
The Mad Max movie I wrote down was Mad Max 2.
Yeah, I
'Cause
have,
the final chase in Mad Max 2, maybe I should have taken that because that is a blueprint for a lot of chase sequences, and also obviously what George Miller's doing right now, despite the fact that he was canceled. And I feel like Fury Road doesn't have a sequence.
Well, I have been rewatching all the Mad
Mhm.
Maxes in anticipation of Furiosa. And so they're fresh on my mind,
Mhm.
but I at some point found it hard to pick like one scene.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, they're driving.
It's
and-
breakneck.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole time.
And people are chasing other people.
'Cause the
and
sandstorm
spectacular
itself
things
and-
happening, but I
yeah.
like can't identify one particular set
Yeah,
piece.
so I guess I don't think of that movie in that way, even though it features the coolest action of the 2010s.
would you guys consider the tavern in Inglourious Bastards to be a set piece?
I thought about it because obviously love that movie, but it's
Like it
I mean, as
is-
like it is, and the tension is
right,
so intense, you know, but
And it does
then
result in a shootout.
shootout.
and it is essentially a standalone piece of filmmaking. I mean, he does it in chapters, so it works that way. But
But it's more psychological, actually, what's happening with like
Yeah.
and then with the release of the big shootout.
Yeah, I think what we're doing here is like big action set
So I have
pieces.
the plane crash in Flight.
I also wrote
Good
that
one.
down. Yeah,
I have the tube chase in Skyfall.
that's a good one. I had the opening Grand Bazaar.
I just want to say, because nobody talks about this movie, there are two incredible sequences in World War Z.
Okay.
There's the escape from Philadelphia and there's the fall of Jerusalem, and they were both excellent zombie sequences.
And two of your key interests. I don't like that movie.
Why not?
You may recall we were friends when it came out, and I was like, "This is okay," and you
We're
were like,
friends.
"It's bad."
And then the day after World War Z.
Remember when Fincher was definitely doing World
Yeah.
War Z 2?
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
weird time. Aliens Power Loader.
Is that the
Yeah.
thing?
Get away from her,
Yeah.
you bitch.
Yeah.
Something I'm saying to my wife all the time. Roadhouse throat rip.
Yeah.
I mean, the ending of Roadhouse.
Yeah. But the fight by the riverbanks.
Yeah, where Swayze is just like, we're going nuclear. Fuck
Yeah.
it. The 8-minute fight sequence in They Live. Not one of your favorites, probably. Not one of your favorites, as I recall. You thought it was too long.
I thought it was a bit long for two guys who were just like basically going to be friends at the end anyway.
Can I tell you when I liked as a kid?
Sure.
Kneel Before Zod in Superman 2.
Yeah.
When Terrence Stamp comes through and Superman's given up his powers to live a normal life with Lois Lane. And he speaking of getting cucked, wow. Jeez. Clark. It's a tough one.
You have any thoughts on Superman's new suit? Or the photos?
Do not like.
Oh, God, I was not expecting.
You don't like it.
Jesus.
I didn't like how it looked. I didn't like that image.
Wasn't there a whole thing about how Superman doesn't wear socks or whatever, or he's a cuck because he has to put socks
I was
on?
in Europe. I didn't see a lot of this debate.
This is so fucking stupid. This snow fight in Inception.
I have the hallway fight in Inception with
Oh, yeah.
Joseph
That's a big
Gordon-Levitt being upside
That's a
down.
big one.
I just want to say Hard Boiled. We didn't say anything about John Woo, but the hospital shootout in Hard Boiled. And then my horror thing was the Drew Barrymore kill in Scream.
Oh, good one. Oh,
Yeah.
so fucked up, but really good.
I want to do a best kills draft. Can you think you can handle that? Best vicious murders on screen?
Sure, because it doesn't have to be directly related to horror movies.
It doesn't.
No.
And there are
Though
a
it would
lot of
help.
people who are viciously murdered in movies I like.
It's a very good point.
So, I might have to like phone a friend a bit, but
Murder draft is just, God.
That's
the
good
ideas just keep
content.
murder,
flowing.
murder
Yeah.
draft is good.
Yeah.
I just feel
The
like
prison riot and the raid 2.
I'm surprised you didn't take it.
I regret
surprised.
it, honestly. I regret it. I had to do Vader and I had to do Sicario.
We did some personal dork picks, I think, on
Yeah.
this one, all three of us. The Bamboo Forest battle in House of Flying Daggers, the Zhang Yimou movie, is unreal. Is beautiful. We didn't really do any, like, aside from the Kill Bill stuff, like the elegant martial arts stuff, but that sequence is amazing. I wrote down Shaun of the Dead, Don't Stop Me Now, the pub scene
Oh, yeah.
where he's killing the zombies, speaking of kind of horror, but amazingly staged. I really, really, really like the fight between Michael Cera and Chris Evans and Scott Pilgrim, where he's playing a movie star and he fights him with a skateboard.
We just gave you our animated movie nods. Like,
That's not an
It's
animated
a-
film.
that's a real movie.
I know
Yeah.
that, but the Chris's reaction was funny.
Michael Cera, star of the next Wes Anderson movie.
Good.
Cool. That makes sense.
That's my take. Michael
Watched
Cera is
Asteroid
good.
City on the plane back from.
I heard you wept.
I wept.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I got it.
really beautiful.
You got it.
Like I feel like I saw it once in the theater. And I was like, great Wes Anderson movie, and then I
Yeah,
watched
and
it,
the
and there's
second
stuff I noticed where I was like, holy shit.
It's really beautiful.
What was it that triggered that? Was it when the alien landed? Similar to how you felt when the aliens landed in War of the Worlds.
It's when Chow Yun Fat shows up.
Atomic Blonde, the fight.
The stairway. Remember when we were like, this is better than Lawrence of Arabia when we walked out at screening?
Yeah, South by Southwest is good. The Fassbender fight in Haywire,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
pretty good.
And you love Gina Carano.
I like her on-screen work.
Yeah.
Her politics is why you hired a private investigator, as I recall. Any other closing thoughts? Any other honorable mentions before we recap?
I think we got most of them, or at least got the movies. I mean, like we didn't do Tom Cruise motorcycle jump from Dead Reckoning, but
No, but Mission Impossible is well
it's
represented.
well represented. Tom Cruise doing stuff is probably like what is the final tally of directors and of people?
Well, let's
Less
figure that out.
Harrison Ford than I expected.
Yeah, we didn't pick the Throw Me the Idol sequence.
Well, let's.
Ooh,
Thanks,
Excellent.
Bob.
Thank you, Bobby.
I just want to say shout out to the Wind River shootout, too.
Wind River.
Yeah,
Who wrote and directed that film?
Taylor Sheridan.
Interesting. Intriguing. So, filmmakers leading the pack: Steven Spielberg, 4 films. Christopher McQuarrie at number 2 with 3, tied with Brian De Palma, Christopher Nolan, and James Cameron. They all have 3 films. Denis Villeneuve, 2 films. Michael Mann, John McTiernan, Andrew Davis, Martin Campbell, Chad Stahelski, Joseph Kosinski, Quentin Tarantino, Gareth Edwards, Robert Eggers, the Russo
Your
brothers,
boys.
Doug Liman, Tony Scott, Justin Lin, Michael Bay, Jan DeBon, Park Chan-wook, Sam Peckinpah, and Ben Affleck all tied at 1. Okay. Chris, you went first, so why don't you recap first?
In the 1980s, I took the Marine ambush.
I went first, but that's okay.
Amanda, you went first. Why don't you
okay.
recap
Go ahead.
first?
You're
Your
right.
name was
You
first
go.
on the list. I'm sorry.
I'll do it fast. Aliens, Marine ambush, and Untouchables Potemkin train station from the 1980s. In the 90s, I took the Heat Bank robbery and the Speed ramp jump. In the 2000s, I took the War of the Worlds pods emerging and Old Boy's hallway fight. In the 2010s, I took Sicario Border Crossing and Rogue One. The YouTube title for that scene is Vader's Rage.
Hell yes.
In the 2020s, I took Oppenheimer, the Trinity Test, and the Northman Village Raid. And for my wild card, I took the Final Shootout of the Wild Bunch and Tenet's Freeport Heist.
I did want to circle back one thing, Oppenheimer. Casey Affleck, that's the character you understood best? What was his name?
Boris something?
Was it Lieutenant Bash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his incredible scene.
Would you like to go or should I go?
Go ahead, because
Okay.
it's
We're going
in
in
order
reverse
in the doc. Yeah.
Okay. In the 1980s, I got the fire hose explosion jump from Die Hard and Say Hello to My Little Friends from Scarface. In the 1990s, I got Hello to the T-Rex in Jurassic Park and the final battle in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. In the 2000s, I got the Dark Knight truck flip and the Crazy 88s battle in Kill Bill Volume 1. In the 2010s, I got the bathroom fight in Mission Impossible Fallout and the elevator fight in Captain America The Winter Soldier. In the 2020s, I got the final mission in Top Gun Maverick and the heart surgery done via FaceTime in Ambulance, directed by Michael Bay. In Wildcard, I got Quint's Demise from Jaws. Perhaps you've seen it. And in Dune Part 2, Paul Atreides riding Shai Hulud.
In the 1980s, I got the Raiders of the Lost Ark truck chase and the final dogfight from Top Gun, the original. In the 1990s, I got the Mission Impossible Langley heist and the Fugitive Dam jump. In the 2000s, I got the Casino Royale parkour opening scene and the Embassy escape from the Bourne Identity. The 2010s, I got the Mission Impossible Halo jump and Fast 5 safe heist, my favorite. In the 2020s, I got the Sacre-Cœur from John Wick Chapter 4 and the Rome car chase from Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. And in Wildcard, I got the Titanic, ship sinking, and the Fenway heist from The Town.
I think you might win.
There seems to have
Mine's
been...
so violent.
There's
you know?
a de-emphasis on winning of late, if you realized. You know, the Ringerverse, they tried to mix it up with us. They tried to be like, we killed you guys.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
Okay.
It's about making memories.
This was a
I'm
very
pleased
civil
with my
draft.
list.
I know. We
It was
didn't really
fun.
freak out at each
Very
other at
civil
all.
know?
draft.
Yeah.
It's nice.
The only loser here, Christy Gnome. Uh,
And her dog.
So as I said,
In
next
that
week,
order.
Yeah.
I got Catherine Bigelow. Didn't I?
no.
No, you didn't.
Oh, man. My bad. I'll happily trade.
Sounds like Kelly Reichert also took a stray on this pod.
That's tough.
Sorry.
So next week,
Yeah.
Charles Holmes will be joining us. He will be seeing the film Imaginary. If.
If.
He won't
If.
be seeing
Imaginary
Imaginary.
is different.
Imaginary is Amanda's favorite movie of
Mhm.
2024. Back to Black.
John C., I don't want to be friends anymore.
What was that girl's name? It was Alice. You've seen Back to Black.
No. I remember.
You
I
haven't
had to
seen
remember
Back to
I had
Black.
see
Have
the
you
screening
seen it?
because
I
I
have
was
seen
sick,
it.
so I'm
Yeah.
going. Do you want to come on Friday night? Back to Black?
Oh, maybe I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
You like Amy Winehouse?
Is that Nuggets?
Probably is.
Oh, I think I have to wash my hair that night.
No.
Yeah.
I want to watch Joker.
Do you want to watch Joker?
Jokic.
Fully ado.
Yeah.
Maybe you can hang with Zach and Knox and watch
Oh, okay.
the basketball, and then I'll go watch Back to Black by myself.
Okay.
Watch basketball?
Unfrosted?
I only watch Jerry Seinfeld's commencement speeches. I don't watch his films.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
There you go, Bob.
Oh,
Thanks to
boy.
Corey McConnell. Thanks to Jack Sanders. Thanks to Bobby Wagner, our producer, for this episode. Tune in next week. We'll be talking about some very, very good films.
When am I on it again? Next.
This is it. This was the last one. See you later, buddy.